reset and team-wide protection.
And Jarvan actually not being looked at just yet by us. We know the Graves pick is something C9 likes against it. We know Janna is a good pick against Jarvan as well. It might be enough to actually sway SKT away from it. And just when we say it, they do decide to lock it in. And I think this is the correct choice. When Jarvan is available, you take him.
Yeah, I mean, he just offers so much versatility. In Champ Select, you can flex him. He could be top lane or jungle. Plus, in the actual game, you have options to go in as well as out.
It's also interesting watching SKT's draft. They are prioritizing reaction over priority. There was no rush regarding the Lulu. You're going to get that 100% of the time if you want it, but they want to wait to see what's in the composition before they pick what you assume to be the bot lane carry here. Double marksman coming through, the Ezreal again for contract, and the Xayah in for sneaky.
And you got to respect that, you know, taking the Ezreal, the snowballing jungler against SKT, saying we can outplay them in the early game, we can get this jungler ahead. We know Fine is going to the late game. He doesn't need to do anything early.
Yeah, the North American junglers, once they got here to Worlds, have been really infatuated with this Ezreal pick. Smithy picking a bunch as well. It definitely is risky, but it gives you that jump start to the game. You know, where is Ezreal going to start? He can actually start on an enemy red buff or something like that and immediately get into counter jungling. SKT, though, the classic weather the storm and turn it around later.
We talked about the Twitch coming in from SKT. Now the Kog'Maw here was banned away, so no big surprise with the AD carry pick. I just want to see bans now, because typically when you're matching all the first phase, you either target purely top lane or purely mid lane. We've seen a lot of like double mid lane bans coming in, and then you
pick one right away.
Yeah, then you pick one right away, and you have a good matchup guaranteed for your Syndra, your Ryze, whichever one it is. We tend to see as a blind pick, but it is Shen first being removed, and junglers actually from C9, because the Jarvan, of course, can go up to top.
And it's specifically the counter picks to the Ezreal. They've shown their own jungler here, causing, of course, a very big pick into it, which is why that ban is in.
And I do like these bans from SKT, because Cloud9 have already showed that they're trying to go with one of those earlier styles at Snowball, and people have been very critical of Shen, but Impact has been one of the players to really perform on this champion and use it very early and proactively, so you kind of remove some of the power from the early game there.
And the Trundle ban sets up for a potential Cho'Gath or Maokai top lane as an early blind pick, and then you can last pick for Faker if you want to here on the side of SKT to try and give him a good matchup against Jensen. There's also the Flex Jace, obviously.
That's why people are okay with kind of a lot of the time, is because you can pick a lot of champions into the Maokai to bully him if you show that pick too early.
We'll see what comes through from Impact then, because Cloud9 need to lock in their solo lanes here against this Flex Jace and the Flex Jarvan. You never know what it's going to be exactly. Syndra might be the first blind, but still wait to see what Impact's going to pick.
And if it's going to be a mid lane Jace, we almost need to see Rumble come in from Huni to add some AP damage, and C9 should obviously know that as well. And can lock in the top would do fine against a potential Rumble, but of course you gotta respect that Jace can just go top lane.
Salute to Europe here with the Yasuo.
Yeah, that Yasuo, that didn't happen. Actually,
went 1-1.
It gave NA their first win in week 2, actually.
Yeah. Shout out to Europe giving us one win. Maybe it's the only one. We'll see what happens. Maokai, not a huge surprise coming in for Impact. You expect that with everything else on the table. Now the last pick through for SKT, and it's Fizz in the mid lane.
So part of the reason you can still go with the Maokai into a Jace pick is because of this Ezreal jungle that you have on your side. So there is a possibility Cloud9 try and protect Impact early on with the Maokai, try and get him up to the point where he gets Bramble Vest. Then you get to use your auto to heal up, and then Jace has less of an easy time of bullying you.
I also really like the gank he brings. Again, it's a point-and-click snare, so if this Jace is just blindly pushing you down and the jungler shows up, or a mid lane roam, it's so easy to lock down Jace and just set it up for an easy kill.
And those have been, you know, some of the criticisms of Huni in the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Were, you know, pushing up like that, and part of the reasons we saw so much Untara was that Untara was not the one to expose himself in those situations.
We'll see what happens here. SKT versus Cloud9. Both teams coming in with a loss at the beginning of the day. Both these teams, though, expected to have made it out of the group stage based on Week 1 results, but Week 2 is where it really comes down to.
EDG
gaming
coming for you.
Exactly, they are, and none of these teams are safe. We'll see what happens. The coaches shake hands for what could be the last time of the World Championship here. Lineups on your screen one more time. Cloud9 representing North America, the last hope here in the region. North America 1-8 so far in Week 2, hoping it won't be 1-10 at the end of it all. SK Telecom T1 reigning world champions. They did not win in Korea. That was Longzhu's honor, but SKT still a phenomenal team. And we'll see if they can win it here and lock down that first seed. So we take a look at the beautiful crowd here in Wuhan, getting ready for our game.
It's always a scary thing with SKT, even when you feel like they've had a
On to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Cloud9 versus SK Telecom T1. North America versus South Korea. And the Korean squad, SKT, could secure the third and final Korean team into the top 8. They take the first seed out of this group. One of the bosses of the quarterfinals. Cloud9 hoping to look good. They actually have a chance of taking #1 themselves. They can win here and again later on in the day.
I actually kind of like this invade here. C9 are going to get deep wards on the top side of the map, while SKT get deep wards on the bottom side. Seeing Fizz and a Jace as your solo laners with a Jarvan would make you think that Blank would want to play around the top triangle of the map. Basically, junglers early on would want to choose one of those two sides for their early presence. And Faker and Huni are definitely two that would benefit.
Let's talk more about Blank specifically, because I'm actually very happy to see him play now after Peanut's not been doing a whole lot in the last few games for SKT, not been very active in the early game. Been somewhat the same story also in the LCK summer split, where he's no longer that all-in aggressive jungler. He's actually trying to be much more passive. I feel like Blank is now the guy with the better early game. He's much more proactive. He loves to invade and coordinate with Faker, and that's something I want to see here. Yeah,
we definitely go over the difference in Blank this year compared to people who remember Blank on SKT last year and him being the sub, him kind of being backup. Blank has been outstanding for the team this time around. Now they're going to start out with this red invade for him to be able to secure this buff, unless that Twitch poison is going to take it, which...
It's pretty easy to actually calculate the numbers on your attacks anyway and be fine. Contract's, of course, in a very similar boat. It's going to smite red to be sure he's safe. Blank did save his summoner, burns it here on the rafters.
Yeah, Faker should be expecting this. He actually takes a decent
easy way out
from Contracts.
And look at that, and that's 400 health off right there. That's kind of what he wanted. Faker, of course, knew that was a red start, lost 400 health without chugging the right side of the map.
All right, Blank actually changes it. Doesn't go bottom. He's going to go mid to try and punish Jensen.
All right, here we go. Jensen playing pretty far up. Level 1 still for Faker. Level 2 for Jensen. Does not go for the flash for the knockup just yet. He's going to walk back. Contract is here as well. So I'm going to be dodged out by Playful Trickster. And no harm, no foul towards North America.
Jensen keeping it very cool, knowing his own jungler is around. And again, it's a level 1. So you're not really too afraid of that potential all-in.
Contracts over here chasing behind Blank. He didn't sweep back into the river, by the way, for another repeat gank. I think a lot of this, as we said before, top triangle of the map, very important and can be influenced quickly.
Yeah, and he got to check his own blue buff, because Blank could have technically gone straight towards it and grabbed it. Contract's checking around as well. Now he sees Blank is actually walking through the front door.
Yeah, once you get full vision, then Ezreal does have the advantage with the extra range here. Red buff slow is applied.
And no mana for the Arcane Shift cooldown either. Worth pointing out, actually, both these junglers low on mana because they went machete starts and haven't gotten their blue buffs yet. So not a lot of spells available. Blank going to run down to his blue side. Of course, he's got his smite up. A problem. Contract similar.
Yeah, small win for Contracts here. I love the start. Both junglers around mid lane, trading with each other. Contracts, he's back in the mid lane.
I mean, he's going to contest the other blue buff here. Like we said, this Ezreal jumpstarts your early game, and he doesn't want to let Blank get any time to get any sort of gank stuff here. So he goes blue to blue, cross right over.
And we also have right now Smoothie able to actually move from the bottom lane because they pushed SKT all the way to the tower. So Contracts is feeling very safe.
Yeah, very smart play from Contract. So again, knew Blank didn't have the resources to take the Wolves very easily. This blue should be smiteable without a problem.
And as we talked about Blank here and going over him, the differences from last year, Contracts is a guy, he was nowhere near Worlds last year. This guy is very new to the stage, and he's been performing with a lot of confidence here in group stage, which is definitely admirable for one of these new players on this big stage, especially from the jungle position. That is incredibly important.
Incredibly team dependent. I mean, Contract this time last year is ending his Challenger Series 1 with Cloud9 Challenger. They qualified in. He got promoted to the main squad Challenger. C9C became FlyQuest, as we all saw. And yeah, Contracts has done very well with his new team.
And one of the things I love is he's a homegrown talent. So he's super valuable for an organization like C9, who already sits with Jensen and Impact as import here. The fact you have now a jungler where you don't have to worry about taking up any slots or anything. He's just going to be there on this team in North America and be super valuable the next few years as well.
And right now, it looks like they're actually saving this blue buff for the next time that Jensen would come back out to lane, so he'll have maximum time with it. Not quite sure if Contracts will actually take it or if he's waiting to hand that one off. Well, maybe he is actually going to take it for himself for the extra experience boost before he returns.
See what happens right now. Both mid lane at level 5 right here. 3 for both the junglers. Blue doesn't look like a handoff. He's pushing it down pretty fast, so Jensen will not have this for his first mid lane. Maybe the second one gets stolen. We'll see what happens.
Let's talk about the Jace in the top lane as well here from SKT. It's been a pick. We've seen quite a few teams pick now and not be too successful on it. Up in the top lane, TSM yesterday, HQ just before this one. You need to make sure Jace can play aggressive in the early game. You need to play around him as a jungler, especially with vision, so he can bulk high.
And actually, even if you don't go there as a jungler, if you disallow the other jungler from interfering, then Jace is just going to take his toll in the Maokai, right? We've already seen Huni bullying Impact so much that he had to recall and use his teleport for the Bramble vest purchase, which is really kind of the key breakpoint there.
Yeah.
If your jungler allows you to get it, then it's really helpful. But you know, the 2 cloth armors there is going to mean that next time Impact goes back, should be able to grab it.
And this game as well, with it, for sure, just go straight for Ghostblade, because you're going to do so much damage to 4 of the 5 members on C9. There'll be very little armor stacked on everyone except for Impact specifically. And if he does go for Ghostblade, it's because he's saying, I don't need to just purely win my lane, join my team in the mid game, and then provide some serious DPS.
Right here, fighting the bot lane right there. Fang does get rooted up. Nice little trade there by Sneaky. +6 right now for the Cloud9 duo, doing pretty well for themselves against one of the world's very best duo lanes. The stun coming through as well. This Shark comes through onto Jensen. Here comes the fight into the mid lane. Blink to join at level 4. Contract the same. Out goes Blink. Gonna do a bit of damage, but it's gonna be the minions dying to the turret.
And Contract shows early in this just to try and get some DPS out. They're just trying to have that pressure down bottom, though, sneaking on the run.
Wow, somebody he'll use just to be safe about this one now. Wolf's gotta be careful. No, Blade Caller just yet gets to walk away cleanly enough. Sneaky, of course, out of mana. Can't do much more with that one. Right now, gold +200 for Cloud9 in the early landing phase.
Ooh, Wolf and the rest of SKT's bottom side might look for a kill and trying to force a flash. Wolf trying to position very aggressively. Still have some mana. Sneaky low on mana, low on HP.
Yeah, only flashes for this bot lane. The rest of the summoners are all on cooldown for both sides here. And Bang, certainly more resources than Sneaky.
Now this early game reminds me a bit of last week when C9 played SKT and Contracts tried to put a lot of time around the mid lane. But in this game here, he's not gone over-aggressive. He's not actually just flash straight onto Faker and try and force a play. He's just been constantly walking in and poking Faker and making sure that it's Jensen controlling the lane. It's a really good start for C9 to get the upper hand here.
See, the late game looks good on this one. Another look towards the mid lane from Contracts. Isn't keeping his jungle dead all the time, but both jungles level 5. It's not too big of an issue. Looking at the toll in top lane, +10 CS, and the first level 7 is Huni. He's actually got himself a very charming inventory. It's not necessarily going to be a tier build. It might just be for the mana regen, and he'll sell it later, but we almost never see tier Jace anymore, so interesting to see that at all.
While this time that Contract is spinning around mid as well is, you know, affording Jensen the power to punish in this lane and know that there isn't going to be that case of the double level 6 jungle and mid all in. However, it is costing Contract some gold in the jungle. Blank is actually ahead, both in gold and experience slightly. Now that Jensen knows he doesn't have Contracts next to him, though, hovering by his vision on the bottom side, those control wards, is your safety area. They did also see Blank here going up towards the scuttle. Should be fine.
And as you mentioned earlier as well, Kobe, Blank doesn't need to gank the lane up in the top lane for Huni to win. He just needs to constantly make sure he knows where enemy jungler is and there's a bit of vision down for the Jason. It's been happening in this game and no one has gone top lane really to do anything.
However, I don't think this lead is big enough for what you expect in Jace versus Maokai. +8 is pretty small what you expect for the matchup. +15 feels more average for this state of the game.
I think for Huni, it's not necessarily about getting, you know, the biggest CS lead possible. It's can he get a bit of damage on tower? And can he then actually get Impact down to about 50% HP? They can coordinate a tower dive then with the Jarvan, with the Fist, and take the tower in just one turn. I see this quite often with these lanes where it's all about just having control and wait for the big tower dive, and then you take the objective.
Diva comes in here, 1 minion lost to the turret, a couple autos come through when he wants it, still getting poked onto Impact, and as you mentioned, down to about 3/4. Yeah. And you can see as the lane resets +9. Again, that's the lead right now on a lane reset. See what comes in next.
The other thing to look out for in that matchup is that when Jace keeps up this pressure, usually the team will make a conscious decision of either we would rather save turret health and have Maokai teleport back to that lane to keep up with the pressure. Well, bottom side though.
And he misses the root, sneaking blood in for Bang. SKT's bot lane off well.
And you can actually see that contaminate projectile coming too. There is time to barrier as it comes toward you. So Sneaky probably decided that it wasn't going to kill him or just didn't react in time.
I'm pretty sure even your ultimate could do something as well. Short range Shark comes through, gets the knockup. Look at that damage into Jensen. Dunk comes through, flashes it though, and the barrier's going to block none of the damage. Faker gets the kill into the mid lane. SKT 2-0.
It all starts with one mistake from C9 around that blue buff where suddenly Sneaky is caught out alone. He dies, and instantly you see the Lulu move to the mid lane, joined by the jungler, and Faker knows he can all in now.
Thing to watch is how quickly SKT punish here. Blink even going in for this blue buff. He's away, no problem.
And not a chance there on that one. So a buff going away. SKT gets revenge for the earlier blue. And look at this now, Huni getting that damage on the turret. Done a half already.
All right, let's see it again here. So Sneaky's alone. Smoothie's up here with Jensen and Contracts. And SKT's bot lane just surprised Sneaky completely.
Yeah, and that's the key. The support right next to Bang there, so he gets the extra bonuses from Lulu, and Sneaky just annihilated very quickly.
Ultra ult in the bot lane, gonna be wave clear, and Bang still feels pretty good about this one. BF Sword plus Zeal in there. Again, a different sort of build from him, not doing quite the same Hurricane Rush, getting something else in the inventory, but Huni still putting damage on it at Impact.
This is the slow and steady poking towards both Impact and the tower we mentioned before here. He actually did complete the tier as well on this Jace, so want to go for even more siege potential where he can actually land a few more big shock blasts before he runs out of mana.
And that thing is so much value, even when he has to join the rest of the team. Faker gets ulted.
Nice flap gets away from the stuns though, but he's still out of abilities to get away from things. No more CC to land. Faker gets away pretty cleanly. Down in CS, but that kill means he's winning this game.
Towards the later stage of the game, if we return to this Jace, he's going to be aiming just to get any shock blast past the Maokai, because while Janna's shields
get it past the goalkeeper.
Exactly, great. If he is able to land that goal and hit anyone behind, it's very difficult for them to sustain it back up. She'll try and put an Ardent, buff on someone, but there will have to be things to auto attack around.
And right now we're seeing full control when it comes to vision. This minimap all red at the moment, and SKT are just in the jungle of C9. Contracts into face check now.
Melee range, Knockup's gonna be there. This could be enough to kill off Contracts. It's a shield in there for this one. It's Smoothie waiting to cast the ultimate. It's a force flash out of Blank. Now, is there gonna be a chase for Jensen? His ulti, of course, still down from the damage to Faker. Blank getting low. True shot barrage to land. Out into the dragon, but he's gonna be fine.
I mean, possibility there of Smoothie using the ultimate to heal Contracts and try and knock Blank, closer to the team, a little bit deeper for a play, but they hold on to some of the cooldowns. This dragon is still a possibility, and they do force Blank back to this jungle.
Very important defense from C9. They're winning that little skirmish here. No kill, but the fact you can actually go in and at least put down a few of your own wards, so it's not just completely red, and SKT can just set up a bot lane tower dive with Faker's teleport at the same time. That is kind of stopped, at least for now. Buys a bit more time for Cloud9, but man, they are under so much pressure against this double TP and just having no real lane they can play around at the moment.
SKT have so many options right now. The whittling down of this top turret you're talking about, Officio, is becoming a reality. Faker's teleport on Fizz is available, and he's almost to that level 11 point where you become very, very scared of that ult combo.
Maybe if they can bait Faker to go aggressive here, they can actually try and kill him and get some damage on the mid lane tower. Mid lane seems to be the easiest lane for him to go towards. Faker, though, is not using his defensive abilities. He's only just dashing forward, ready to always jump back towards the tower.
That is the important thing. If Jensen's in range, they don't know if Contract is there or not. He never hits the playful trickster, only when the mid laner's out of range of him. Another trade on the top lane. Impact going to give it lower, and we're seeing the junglers move to that side as well. Trade's beginning. Blank's going to be just first to play, but Contract right behind. Here comes the battle. 2-1, 2 back forced to run. The flash coming around. He's going to get back away over the cats. But here comes Fizz. He's going to be in range. The shark is going to land. He's going to chomp down, and Maokai is dead. Faker with a second kill of the game.
That Faker teleport we talked about doesn't even have to be level 11. Gonna land that with a level 1 ult and secure the kill on the Impact. Here comes Contract to try and delay some backs, but he's really just trying to get a little bit of time for Jensen to push up, and it is a bit of a dangerous game.
1 versus 3. Faker's behind him. The damage certainly going to be there. You have to expect the ulti coming across, but he burns the flash for nothing. Blake's back in and turns his health bar to just that.
We've seen this a few times now. Actually, wait for it, bot lane.
2-on-2 this time around. They know the junglers aren't available. Huni could TP in a little bit. Smoothie getting out of HP. Sports to flash away, but he's out of summoners now. Only the flash and the barrier for Sneaky getting away, but SKT getting the better of that fight.
Jensen is on the way. There's no TPs right now from SKT. He's moving in here behind the tower.
Huni, let's see where the rest of the squad is going. Jensen here has the ultimate, has zone barrier, looks for a Wolf for some damage, looking for the stun's gonna get that. Sneaky's in the fight as well, and Wolf should be dying the first kill on the board for Cloud9. Huni coming around the side, shock blast gonna land, nearly kills out Smoothie. That turret is low. SKT Force already have gotten the first for themselves, and the rest of the squad is here. Blank joining in, gets the ulti across Impact, actually pulling in tower aggro as well. He's in 1v3, nearly gets a kill, and they do. Jensen finds the stun, and Impact survives again well.
Very important, Cloud9 gets a few kills and a bot lane tower here. They had a few fights mid and top lane, didn't go their favor, but down in the bottom lane, nice roam from Jensen. And then we gotta remember when Huni joined, he sits right there with some CDR and a tier, not pure damage, so he couldn't actually one-shot Smoothie.
Yeah, and Impact here with the Righteous Glory plus Ninja Tabi was already fairly well equipped to sustain a lot of the damage that was coming from, Twitch and Jarvan and Jace all hitting him. He's got pretty much perfect itemization to tank that under the turret, uses Twisted Advance to dodge a turret shot, and that's why he survived so long, even in that Cataclysm.
So let's see the trade in the bot lane as well, plus TP coming in for the tower dive. Jensen uses ult early to guarantee landing the stun right after. Not really possible for Wolf to escape. after all these balls are already on the ground. And here, you see the damage from Huni just not being enough with his current build to actually secure the kill. Right? Baction, Sneaky almost dying.
Yeah, the barrier used. Makes it dangerous. Of course, got Essence Reaver, he's got the Zerg Greaves as well, but not extra magic resist. This Fizz can be scary. He's got the Proto Belt off cooldown. Ready to go. Faker, 5 stacks in the Dark Seal. It is going to be scary. Bang into the main ulti pop. Looks for Jensen. Better damage here, but a big stun gets him out. No major pain used here on this one. True shot barrage across.
Impact is coming down the river, but SKT see him. So only have to respect the area that Maokai is in, because all the other members of Cloud9 are very squishy right now, and SKT have so many assassins they can jump on those members. But wherever Impact is where C9 should be trying to play around.
We do see it's, of course, 1 tank per team. Impact, the 1 tanky member on his squad, and it is Cinder Hulk Jarvan out of Blank. Makes sense, of course. Everyone else is ranged, or at least squishy on his squads. But then now by Cloud9, Blank the only frontliner. He's not going in. His Q is on cooldown, which means there is no threat, and Cloud9 get the mid lane down.
And I really like the fact that we have a game now with so many squishy champions. We don't have these like 6 tanks in the game where no one will die. It's actually so many guys who can get bursted down very quickly.
That really emphasizes the skill shots hitting here. The landing of your crowd control can mean instant death for one of these guys. And the reactions we already talked about. Oh, here we go, Impact.
Reaction to the top lane, putting damage onto Huni, who is not tanky by any means. He goes down. Impact finds the kill.
Jensen, smart, playing around Impact, who sets this all up. He can stand in front of the Jace, soak that shock blast. They easily 2v1 that kill on the former North American LCS player.
And just a few minutes ago, we had 3 to 4 kills for SKT. They got first top lane tower as well. It looks really bad for Cloud9 after some poor decisions.
Oh, Sneaky.
Bot lane.
Look at damage onto Sneaky, getting his health bar dropped down a little bit. Blakely not going to land. Bank kites away from that one. Look at the damage output. 110 HP left. That is a Xayah who has to recall.
No barrier this time here, but as I was just saying before here, SKT, after getting that lead, have now actually been outplayed by C9. Down the bot lane especially, where we got the kills and the tower.
It was. SKT are about to get some more going here with the bottom turret, though, and some more territory. Look at the wards on the map. SK Telecom completely warding up this bottom half of the map of C9, so they have the freedom to move around. They can take the bottom turret. They can take the Cloud Drake, and it makes it very, very scary for C9 to enter even their own territory.
All right, so we got some outer turrets down. Very even in gold at the moment. We just talked about how there are a lot of squishy members in this game, so the burst damage from a Cinder is going to be super valuable, and that's something Jensen can use to carry this game.
Currently, looks like 1 Cloud9 ward on the map, down in the bottom by the river. Other than that, they're checking all the brush with their skill shots. They're just cautiously moving up.
Okay, as many wards as wins for North America in Week 2.
Hey, they got 2 down there!
Oh, they might win this game then!
It's amazing. We'll see what happens here. It's a portent of things to come. 700 gold difference. A Smoothie. Get a killer control ward. And with it, the hopes and dreams of SKT, quite obviously. Here comes the fight into the top side of the river, though. Impact and Huni doing battle. Bang waiting around, but no ult to pop because no one worth attacking yet in range. Wouldn't kill Impact with this build just yet. He's made a lot of armor for himself in the Maokai.
And I'm actually quite sad that Huni is gone for this build that's very specifically focused around winning against Impact with Black Cleaver to shred his armor and tear so you have enough mana to, you know, keep spamming your abilities. I really like, actually, never mind, Contrix dying.
Knock out the Shark, didn't quite land, but the Wild Growth is a long time. Now back to his team, he's got the shields, Vigor pushed away. Looking for more in the backline, Jensen on the chase. Look at the damage up and out of Twitch, but Contrix stays up there as well. To the re-engage towards Bang. Barrier gonna time out. Of course, the team forced to run away. The kill did come through, though. Huni found the snipe onto Contracts on the side of it all.
Yeah, Huni from the back there is able to kill him after C9 did so much to get Contracts out of that fight. That was so close because Impact wasn't there to block any of the damage. Now C9 pushing up mid though, and Huni is pushing on the top lane. He should make quick work of that turret.
It's Faker TPing in here towards the mid lane.
Comes forward, knows he has no ultimate available. Top lane tier 2 falls thanks to Huni's split push mid lane. The wave is gone, the turret's about 1/3 though.
Yep, Huni able to take his toll down there, and now Cloud9 have to respect the extra, oh, Faker?
Again,
The
no
extra
ulti.
Faker?
The damage is not really going to be that high, even though there's no magic boost at all, and he's got the teammates around him.
Oh, there's only 1 Faker, no extra Faker, and Sneaky's gonna get a little bit of damage on the way out.
We've gotten so used to these really slow early to mid games where everyone's just farming and we have like 30 minutes to talk about whatever we want. But in this game here, whenever we bring up a point, another fight is just starting. This is towards mid lane. Contracts is so aggressive, standing right in front of multiple SKT members.
Look how important that crowd control abilities are. Smoothie's able to save Contracts here with the ultimate as well. The knockup, and Sneaky goes offensive on Bang. There you see in the bottom of the screen, Huni was able to find Contracts, even though they've been able to extract him from that dangerous scenario.
SKT once again looking for control. Vision has always been one of their their strongest points. I'm going to say most strongest, and I realize that's not a phrase I should say. So I said instead.
You were disgusted with yourself.
I was. Grammar's important, ladies and gentlemen. Stay in school. It's a big deal. SKT, though, getting rid of more and more of the wards. Their gold lead right now 2.3 thousand. Contracts get still in Wolves, though. Opponent out of the pit there, but SKT certainly with a small control of this game, pushing in all 3 lanes.
I briefly mentioned Huni's build before here, which is so focused again on just dealing damage to impact. If it had gone like more lethality with Ghostblade, he would hurt so much against the squishy guys. Obviously because of his high level, he's still going to do a lot of damage, but I still want to see the impact in an actual team fight with this build from him.
Oh, they caught Contract. He brings the shark back into Jensen. 1 kill comes through. Jensen flashes away. This could still be dangerous. Faker pops the zone. I think he might have misclicked that one. Wasn't in range of much. But here comes the backline act as Force run away. 1 kill dead. Jensen next to Huni drives in and grabs the kill. Now on to Faker, but he pops away. He's going to stay alive. But this one, Bank can't quite fall. Yes, 1 does come through to impact, but he's the only one to get a kill at all. SKT have already grabbed themselves 3. The chase forward, looking for 1 more kill. Cloud9 get it as Blank falls.
Such an important engage from SKT. Again, we talk about impact not there. That means they have the freedom to go for this, and they pull off a really good dive, but teleport completes and impact arrives. He's able to secure a couple of turnaround kills for them, which Cloud9 desperately need. Otherwise, they're going to continue to bleed territory.
Your vision on the map. There are so many places where SKT can hide and use this fish from Faker to just like fire from long range, and then Bank can open up. There's so little information on the map from C9.
Exactly. I honestly think they should be under their turrets, not even in front of them, if they don't have any impact there to block some of the damage. The teleport cooldown itself, even if you start it immediately, it's short enough that SKT can get the...
Yeah, but you can't have the Big Daddy there because he's stuck defending his lane against the Jace. Otherwise, they just lose a tower. So he needs these kids here to actually handle themselves in the mid lane. But because they don't know what's happening in the river, SKT can just move around, wait for a long ultra, bang opens up, and then you have 4 squishy members dying in a few seconds.
That's the big thing, 4 squishies right now. No one naturally going to buy a locket for the immediate durability to the rest of the teammates. Smoothie has himself a redemption, can matter a little bit, but right now it's been difficult for Cloud9. The kill's still reasonably close. It's 5 to 8. The gold lead, 2,500 for SKT. Certainly not insurmountable. The Koreans with the lead in this game.
I have to say, that problem you just brought up, Deficio, gets even worse for Cloud9 now, because Impact did have to use his teleport to join that fight, and Huni now advantage. So Huni going to try and pressure on bottom side first. They have Faker on top side. It's a classic SKT kind of gaining control of the entire map right now to get the waves moving, get that pressure down, and try and pick
impactful in this game here. And of course in the full late game, we know how tough it is to play against the Fizz. Barely kill him in team fights and he can burst you down.
Yeah, SKT, so much going in their favor right now. They're definitely on the offensive, especially with Faker's teleport also coming up very shortly here, and a dragon also spawning on the Rift. There are a lot of rewards that SKT could try and take right now.
They get for themselves. Mountain Drake just now spawns up here. Baron control's already there as they've got all that vision on this side. Bang looking for his first opening. Finds Sneaky. Couple attacks come through. There's a dunk in. Blade's probably going to come out after a second, but Sneaky already pushed out of the fight. Gets away from the shark. Burn down. Needs another shield. Barrier will time out. And he might get poisoned. Someone to heal from Smoothie keeps him up, but that is a lot lost by Cloud9. SKT have complete control for this Drake now.
And we just saw that engage before here where it was a few kills for SKT. Now it's just the Mountain Drake they will get for a few on the side of Cloud9 as well. So that just means in the next few minutes we might see the exact same opening a 3rd time, but this time giving even more kills to SKT.
3 summoners out of Cloud9, none out of SKT. The Drake picked up without contest here. Tuni continues to get more gold and experience, highest level in the game at 15. He's got the most gold last I checked as well, so he is the one to watch for as the major carry force. Sneaky still trying to scale up. Hurricane, despite really not being against a lot of melee, but it's what he went for here.
I'm thinking of a scenario here where Cloud9, once they have Impact's flash available, should just try and group up and force a large fight with him on the front lines, leading the charge, because that would be the way where they could actually gain momentum instead of sitting around here, having SKT continue to nearly sideswipe them here in the mid lane in big chunks of health.
So one of the ways to do that is by just starting the Baron and forcing SKT to move in and take the 5-on-5 team fight. But starting the Baron against champions like Fizz and Twitch is so risky because if you don't see them, they just surprise you.
And it puts you on a timer. Huni on the bottom side, trying to take the turret. Here they go.
They're burning it quickly. The rest of the team coming around. TP just now channeled out from Huni. Here comes Faker on the backside as well. Who can he find? The Shark's going to find Barrier from Jensen. The fight continues as he looks for the kill. The Syndra's getting low. Flank into the front lines. The kill comes through to Faker. 1-0 so far to SKT. He's popped the zone. He's getting away as as well. This could be a trade. Sneaky gets one. 4v4 in the fight, but the knockbacks continue, and Huni gets himself the second kill as the carries from Cloud9 are all gone. A double now out of Huni. Shock Blast gets the kill out of Smoothies. The bot lane's gone. Nice little shot out of Contrast gets one, but it's 3 for 2. The two remaining Cloud9 members running away as Bang is on the hunt. He's got the move speed, but he's still getting shot at. He can't quite find those kills just yet. Still, +1 to SKT in the Baron, now going to be into their control.
That was such a well-played flank by Faker on the bottom side. It caused a lot of chaos in the backline of Cloud9. So even though Impact was there, and he tries to nail down the front line forward, Faker's in the backside, kind of delaying the DPS that they could put out.
And that's the thing, if you don't know where they're coming from or who you can engage on, you're just stuck here 5 members together. No one's going to touch Bang in this fight, and they're all going to try and jump onto Faker while trying to escape at the same time.
Exactly. Faker draws everybody's attention and still is able to solo out Jensen, giving them so much momentum in this fight that then SKT, they just run straight through with Bang auto-attacking and creating this pressure. Now, Contracts makes a smart move here, and he does have vision of Huni, so he's able to land that last shot. But again, it was advantage getting the extra kill.
And we just talked about why C9 will try and make this play here. Force a 5-on-5 team fight. You need vision around the Baron, though, especially behind it, so you can actually see SKT when they move towards you, and then you turn. You instantly flash Okai, so you're not stuck like we saw here in this fight.
Then they had to turn again, back around 360 because Faker was behind them, and they were just spinning in circles.
As you saw on the graph in the last fight, Sneaky had done the most on his team in the last one. Of course, we know that Huni had played the North American LCS. You can see the overall record of impact against him, and Huni's been getting better. Looks like he might one more time, of course, this time with a stronger team. Still looking good for SKT.
And ability from Huni here so he can deal that DPS against all the squishy members. Basically, he's been winning his side lane, he's been joining his team when needed. But honestly, it's been about the 4 members on SKT just constantly finding engages on C9.
Yeah, he's on separate sides. You're looking for the play against Jensen. Not going to find it here. We had seen Impact look for Huni, but didn't find it in the bot side, so disengages on both halves.
Yeah, the cooldown of Righteous Glory is actually something to track as well. Everyone always focuses on these summoner spells, but Righteous Glory movement speed and that engage for Impact is also very important. It's a much lower cooldown, so he kind of tried to use it there to grab Huni. It was unable to, and they'll have to work around this as well.
But it's still 90 seconds, so it's going to be up about the same time Huni's teleport is back up, so there's not much of a different window there. Off by about 20 in the favor of Impact, but we'll see what comes next.
And again, it's so much on Impact he's trying to basically herd the rest of the members of SKT to pin them down and allow Cloud9 to get off their damage, but it's been so difficult, and SKT has done such a good job. Look at the vision on both sides here. They're just constantly pressing.
Yeah, it's such a problem for Cloud9 that they cannot stop the 2 split pushers, so their side lanes are always getting pushed down to where the tier 2 towers are, and that means that C9 are always afraid that someone's going to roam into mid, like shoot them from the side with a long-range Fizz ulti from Huni, and it just makes you play very defensive in mid lane, and then you always give over the priority to Bang to just sit in that mid lane and surprise you.
SKT have such an arsenal at their command now. It feels like all of Cloud9's squishy members have to dodge every single skill shot, or else SKT are going to pounce on it.
The arsenal is big right now. It is 1 missile short. Faker's ulti was down. Huni's teleport now also down. Make sure that's not going to be a 5v4, but it looks like they want in. They can get the kill, and the Faker's going to jump away. He's going to be up here. The Zonia's true shot. Barrage forces flash out of the member. They get away alive.
Good play right here from Cloud9. They're moving Impact from the bottom lane. As soon as Huni is not in that lane, just perma pushing, group him up with the team, as Kobe has mentioned multiple times, and they try and find an engage. Sadly, they don't get a kill.
They do get the flash, but they're not able to force anything else like, a Baron or anything like that, because SKT has so much vision. They would want to try and also get like Faker's teleport out or something, but SKT be able to recover very quickly from that because all of their groundwork, pushing up the side waves, all of the vision that's already been laid in the jungle.
That's the thing, these professional teams, when it comes to split pushers, always talks about windows. When you're pushing down the enemy top lane to his tower, you have a window where you can roam. You can go to the mid lane because you have the control of that lane. When he then gets to push the wave back, you expect that he can actually leave the top lane and go to his team, and that's exactly what Impact just did. And that's why we see C9 try and make a pick in the mid lane, try and force a Baron. He needs to be able to do that again, because right now, it's on Huni. He has the window, he used it to recall and buy a few items, but then he can just return and do exactly the same thing, and it should allow Impact at least a chance to push out the lane and move to mid lane again and join his team and look for a fight.
We've seen, speaking of looking for fights, Faker's been fishing for his ultimates quite frequently, but the cooldown pretty short. It's about 40 seconds points, so he just looks once every couple of waves, doesn't find it. SKT able to, hide back easily.
Exactly. The cooldown is so short, and the rewards would be so big. You can land one of those fish that it's definitely worth throwing him out. Right now, Huni is starting up this Drake. Because Impact is getting close, he might have to respect it, but there they go.
Oh, someone's got him out of the EQ. Blank has no way out. The flash doesn't mean anything, but look at the damage out of Bang. He's trying to shoot him down. Not just yet, though. Gonna kite back to 1-for-0. The solo mountain Drake might not be much bigger over the wall. Not caught by the root just yet, but the chase for Impact. They have the W. He's not quite in range. Not gonna get it there, and Huni gets in the way out. But a 1-for-0 can't sit Baron for Cloud9.
Yeah, this time around, C9 gonna jump on the opportunity to force the big objective. Watch all the SKT poke.
But there's no ulti from They can get a bit more gold under their belt, even out the score here with SKT. But right here, we had a window for Impact. He left the bottom lane, walked in to join the team. So when Blank gets caught out, Impact is already nearby to join the fight. Otherwise, this is a 4v4 that C9 could still lose. But Blank shows up, forces everyone from SKT away, and now all the ultis are gone here. Very simple. C9 are playing well around Impact roaming from his lane, knowing when they can actually force a fight in mid. Blank got surprised right there, and that cost his team a lot.
Also, just want to say how impressive it is that Faker is able to constantly skirt around danger here, around the edge, and kind of drag Cloud9 around, delaying their time so that they weren't able to get a tremendous amount off of that yet. But now, C9 have reset. They teleport on Impact, and this is the time.
Still important to highlight that despite the Baron
right through the mid turret, because Huni is going to annihilate turrets right now. So much damage on this Jace.
Bot 2-2 is gone. He can't go faster than a Baron, but with 5 members, though he's going to keep staying for the inhibitor itself. This is going to be the tanks right in the front line. Faker waiting in the wings, and Huni is not recalling. He's not looking for the play just yet. Inhibitor turret is down to Bang, not getting anything with the ulti, getting across. There's nothing to be done. The inhibitor not being attacked, and Huni's still not going back. It will be. It looks like a trade of inhibitors. Is there more? Onto the back line, they found Bang a little bit. Impact did. They're looking for a bit more. The ulti across to the flank. This one coming out from Sneaky. Doesn't fight something because Huni is continuing to push. He is still going for the base, and Cloud9 are the first to flinch. They lose their turn. They've got to go back to the base. Will they lose the recalls? Impact gonna be back safely.
That Twitch poison stops a couple of Impact's attempts at recalls, and Huni is able to demolish them. What a quick trade, though. This is 1-for-1, and C9 still not out of here. Huni could come up from the red buff as well.
Now, Impact has TP as well. If C9 see it coming in, they can at least join the 5-on-5, and Huni right now only concerned with taking the jungle away. The better of the play was still SKT. They countered a Baron seed by getting an extra Nexus turret.
And it all starts with Bang and Faker positioning from the flanks to force C9 to focus them and the objectives at the same time. But they didn't get any kills. We'll get a top lane tower though, so a bit more gold in their pockets.
One-on-one, I feel like might favor SKT. C9 might need their tank, and Huni actually happy to keep fighting Impact, putting more and more damage across. Down a half HP on the Maokai. Not sure he can win this battle. The duel continues though. The health bars getting down below. But look at that empowered shot blast over. He'll come through for Impact. The fight's getting lower and lower, but Huni gonna find himself the solo kill, and Cloud9 are still tankless.
Huni here allows him to have enough mana to actually just continue spamming the abilities in the 1v1.
And his red buff allowing him to regenerate and deal true damage constantly. The Maokai, such small margins, honestly, with that minion wave there, it got a little close.
Yeah, the burn's certainly a big deal against a 500 armor champion. Slight exaggeration. The regen out of combat helping in case someone jumps him afterwards. Mid lane a little bit attacked right there as the Baron's timed out. Wave easy enough from Sneaky. He's still been the big member on this team. Glorious Regards is in, so he has some tank busting. Only one slot to go for both these marksmen.
In these games here, with all the damage on both sides, we gotta look at flashes before every single big fight. Bang is missing his because it was forced by Impact in that little base defense from SKT's side. If they can actually flash engage onto him, there is a QSS that makes it a bit harder to lock him down, but he won't be able to flash away at least, and a lot of damage can follow.
So SKT, their game plan around Cloud9, play off the vision they already have surrounding this team. If they continue to poke on both sides, continue to poke with these fish that Faker is poking out, eventually they burn enough summoners that they can punish.
Keep in mind, you talk about pushing on both sides. One of those sides is the 4,000 gold lead on Huni's Jace right now. He is full build, level 18. He cannot get any stronger. Impact has more than a full item slot to go right now. So as time wears on, some of this gold doesn't matter for the Korean squad anymore. Cloud9 may catch up, but it is as he was attacking. Can't quite get the kills, but it forces the flash of a smoothie.
All right, ulti down now. Bang used it very aggressively, trying to see if they can maybe force C9 away from this turret here. Bot lane in here, of course, is open, but we have Impact sitting and defending. Any blue wards behind SKT that this Maokai could use? Currently, no.
Even at the river.
Near the Raptor camp, so no good TP location for the Maokai either.
Pushes in. That's going to be a turret dead right there. SK Telecom T1 up 5,000 gold as mid lane tier 2 falls. 8-5 in turrets. 3-0 on Drakes as well. Double Mountain plus a Cloud.
This is an Elder Dragon that's about to spawn on the field for SKT with 2 Mountain Drakes.
Yeah.
They would annihilate this very quickly.
4 times power on the Elder Dragon burn. 3 elementals picked up so far. Huni splitting his focus now to the top side, away from the major objective. Red Elixir on turret, gonna fall rapidly. Look at the damage output there, it's gone, and 2 more autos. For now, he's gonna kite back away from impact.
Cloud9 needs to force a team fight here. 30 seconds on Bang's ulti. Few seconds on his flash as well, but again, they need a ward they can use to TP on for impact, so he can leave that lane. Yeah, you might lose an inhib. Team fight, otherwise you're slowly just going to bleed out every single tower in that top lane.
38-25 is when Bang's ultimate comes back up to cooldown. It's essentially here when the fight comes through. As soon as anyone meets, he's gonna have that ulti right back available.
There is a super minion on a single Nexus turret. That will destroy the Nexus turret itself. C9 have no time. They have to force, and that's why SKT are just delaying them.
They're having this one top lane Nexus, or sorry, Inhibitor turret could fall as well, as the Maokai is going to have to go back to his own base. As Huni is going to have that available now. It might be a smite by TP in for the Maokai. They want this battle. Cloud9 though. The Elder Dragon resets, and Huni still has free time into the base contract. Pushed back by the Shard.
Huni's going for the finish!
Huni's going to win the game outright. He's onto the Nexus already. Cloud9 blocks the macro management. SKT without even a kill at the end of it all. Just going to close it out. The #1 seed for South Korea's SK Telecom T1 has been secured.
And C9 stuck in an almost impossible situation in the end. You have to be able to defend against the Jace, against the super minions, and also take the fight at the Elder Drake. All 3 things at the same time, it was way too much, and obviously it all comes down to SKT getting ahead in this game and putting himself in that situation in the first place.
Into Worlds, which 6 players were they going to bring? They chose to bring Huni. They didn't even bring his understudy in Untara. It's only that they have for this tournament. He didn't even play all their games. He was more the understudy to Untara. And his style had been carries more than anything else. His Jace played around it so well. He had more farm than anyone, more gold than anyone. He single-handedly destroyed the base for SKT and was that killing blow.
So much work put in, constantly chipping away at summoner spells, keeping up the wards on both sides, the pressure never relenting.
Exactly. We saw a few times where C9 found a fight. Impact able to leave his lane when he got to push towards the river. Not past the river, just to the river. Could then walk up to the mid lane and see if they could find a Baron play or a pick. And they found it a few times. It actually gave them a Baron as well. Sadly for them, whenever they have advantage, Huni was still in that bot lane or top lane, just pushing, and they could never stop him.
I mean, really amazing tenacity out of SKT right here. They did not have, I would say, as powerful as a team fight composition. Fizz and Assassin, Jace not much of a team fighter himself, and all the gold was on him, and they let him stay in the bot lane. They defended a 4v5 against Baron, down 16,000 gold because the Jace is by himself, and they raced as fast as Huni did.
That's why it's also, you know, we have to keep bringing up how Faker was playing when they got to those team fights where you can't just straight on straight or head to head, you know, run into these guys.
Yep.
He runs them around in a circle. You're trying to delay time so the DPS actually doesn't get to come out.
And Bang as well. You know, all the damage dealers really isn't putting pressure on C9. Like, we had a few times where it looked like, okay, C9's going to push, Bang opens up, and then 3 guys are back in base instantly.
Yeah, hits the squishes, gets them down. Really great play out of SKT. Again, they have secured the #1 seed out of the group, but there is still more to play. But for now, to get more on that SKT win, let's send it down to the analysts.
Thank you, Freak. That one's going to sting for Cloud9 as SKT clinched the first seed in the group with that victory, moving to 4-1. Cloud9 now sitting at 2-3 on the day. Blank, first game of the tournament. Crumbs, what's your assessment?
My assessment is we're at least 50% right now.
We did it.
All right.
That's a great assessment. But let's start rolling through. Let's just talk about how SKT came away with a victory.
Well, the composition was a very different one. Without a tank, they had just basically all about, it had so many threats, and instead we're going to...
All right, we're going to start with the final fight of the game. This is brought to you by Acer Predator.
And literally as this was happening, I think all of us sighed and said, oh no, SKT have already won the game here. Yes, Deficio said that it put Cloud9 into the impossible decision, but the thing is 45 seconds to a minute earlier, that's when Cloud9 needed to strike. They needed to group up. They needed to force making a 5v5 when Bang didn't have his flash up and available. As soon as the Elder Dragon spawned, as soon as they had these big super creeps crashing in the top wave, the bot wave, SKT already had all of their cards set up.
Yeah, and it really just felt like SKT was able to outmaneuver them so well. They have this composition where we were talking about this a lot in the game. It's like, okay, who do you have in this game? Everyone's like, well, yeah, SKT is probably going to win. Okay, turn off the nameplates. Who do you have in this game? Well, C9's composition is clearly going to win the game, right? It's one of those situations where SKT is able to maneuver so well. Faker was able to buy time so well in the team fights on Fizz, and I do think that C9 certainly made some mistakes down the stretch. You know, Impact taking a full-on fight in the bot lane, allowing that solo kill. That was kind of what bought a lot of time for SKT to get flashes back, to set up for the Elder Dragon and kind of force their hand.
And the setup was better wave management, better vision for them that allowed them to just say, hey, we understand what our win condition is. Let's just execute it. And Cloud9, it really felt like they were desperate to try to get a 5-on-5. And particularly when they decided to go force a Baron without any setup, they just said, hey, let's go in here and see if we can just get a party started. They didn't even know Faker was behind them, flanking them, which is the best position for a Fizz.
And while I 100% agree that SKT's setup was gorgeous when it came to kind of like late mid-game, late game, the early mid-game fights were actually kind of lopsided from SKT. You know, we weren't getting the same decisive setup. You know, Bang was sometimes left out of position.
Faker flashes on you. You don't see that very often.
And I mean, even Contracts, he actually jumped the fish onto 3 people from his team, knocking them down very low. And maybe that prompts the dive and the turnaround, but it was very close to going horribly wrong for SKT.
And the thing is again, their composition works so well when they've spread out Cloud9, when they don't make these big 5v5 plays, because that's what their composition is good at. And SKT just kind of gave it to them a couple of times to make this game a little bit closer than it really needed to be.
I mean, all this tells me SKT, while they secure the first seed, aren't without their faults. And so when you're looking ahead to that game against EDG later, it's really about how clean can you win it if you're going to win it. The way EDG's looking right now, to be able to challenge SKT in the early game, that's scary. Of course, that's the 6th game of the day. Let's talk real briefly about the 5th game of the day between C9 and AHQ. If SKT are to win the 6th game, then the next game determines who gets out of the group. Is it going to be C9 or AHQ? How are these teams matching up, and how are they looking today?
Welcome to the Thunderdome, Cloud9. It's suddenly like a 2-3 group, and that has to feel really nerve-wracking, especially for the performance that AHQ showed, not just against SKT, but they also had some fight in them against EDG.
Yeah, I think Mountain has actually been really on today. Contracts, you know, looked like he was a bit out of sorts in the early game this time around. You know, it was a very confusing early game, but the Ezreal was not super effective. You know, 0-3-0 for quite a long part of the game. And I think that if Mountain is playing as well as he has been in these earlier games, then C9's going to have a really tough time.
Alrighty, well, anything that C9 can do in terms of, you know, the picks to set themselves up with some tools? Are we moving away from aggressive junglers?
You'll know. Aggressive junglers that can offer more setup for a fight. I like the Rek'Sai a lot out of Contracts. Stay away from the Graves, the Ezreal. It's too hard to execute. They got to give themselves something that's a little bit easier to pull off against AHQ.
Ease of execution, that's what we're looking for when we return. C9 and AHQ look to get an edge in the fight for second place as they face off in a monumental clash. We'll also hear from SKT's Wolf, so don't go anywhere.
To keep up with the pressure. Well, bottom side though.
And he misses the root. Sneaky's got to be careful. He's got to. No, doesn't even get to do anything about it. Barrier was up, but the Contaminate came through. First blood. Here comes Fizz. He's going to be in range. The Shark is going to land. He's going to chomp down, and Maokai is dead.
I have a stun. Nice. King Lulu. Nice, nice, nice. Good turret, you should Get turret, press turret.
Jensen, next to Vizuni, drives in and grabs the kill. Now on to Faker, but he pops away. He's going to stay alive, but this one big can't quite fall. Yes, one does come through to Impact.
킬 남았어. 죽었다. 끝. 아, 보자.
Cloud9 has botched the macro management. SKT, without even a kill at the end of it all, just going to close it out. The #1 seed for South Korea's SK Telecom T1 has been secured.
If you want to follow the best of the Rift, then you need T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. We've doubled our coverage, so you can stream Worlds in more places than ever before. With T-Mobile, don't miss a moment from the first battle, all the way to the lifting of the Summoner's Cup. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
Welcome back to World 2017, where I'm here to have a word with Wolf from SKT after they secure first seed. First seed, Wolf, but not a flawless parkour yet. Some things to deal with and a game dropped versus AHQ. What do you think the team has to work on going into the quarterfinals?
울프 선수 일단 1시드로 8강 진출한 하신 것을 축하드립니다. 하지만 사실 SKT 팀의 기준에 부합하는 완벽한 경기력 아직 나오지 않았는데요. 8강에 올라서면서 이제 어떤 점들을 보완해야 할 것 같은지 말씀해 주세요.
네, 일단 지금까지의 경기력이 솔직히 저도 굉장히 마음에 안 들고 팬 여러분들도 굉장히 일단 피드백을 하면서 좀 뭐랄까 그동안 굉장히 저는 약점이 명확하게 보였다고 안 좋은 점이 명확하게 보였다고 생각했거든요. 그래서 뭐 그런 것들을 이제 언제나 경기도 남으니까 보면서 고쳐 나가야겠죠. 저희의 실수들을. 네.
So I myself not really satisfied with our own performance, and I'm sure our fans aren't really happy with our performance as well. But I think our weakness is pretty clear at this point, and we still have a lot of games ahead of us. So I think it's important for us to add those mistakes, our weakness, and improve them.
Okay, well, we will see how that evolves. Finally, Wolf, I know you probably already heard of what happened to the North American team so far, and C9 is the only team left. You just played them. How big do you think their chances are of going through? What are their strengths?
울프 선수 아시겠지만 북미 팀들이 매우 힘겨운 2주차를 보내고 있는데요. 이제 C9 팀이 북미 팀의 마지막 희망으로 남아 있는데 C9 팀이 이제 8강 진출에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
저는 일단 괜찮을 수 있다고 생각하거든요. 왜냐면 저는 C9이 굉장히 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하고 또 북제탑 임팩트를 가지고 있기 때문에 언영이가 올라왔으면 좋겠고, 그리고 리그가 길어지면서도 또 지역이 하나는 남아야 그래도 재밌잖아요. 그래서 저는 C9이 충분히 올라갈 수 있다고 생각하고 그리고 올라갔으면 좋겠어요. 네.
So I actually think that C9 fans advance into the quarterfinals. I think we need at least one NA team in the tournament to make it more interesting, and they have the best NA top, Impact, and I really hope that Impact plays well and the team, and yeah, I think they have a good chance.
That was it? Okay, well, Wolf's blessing for C9. Thank you very much, 감사합니다, Wolf, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. And now into that big matchup of C9 versus AHQ with you guys at the desk.
Homegrown NA talent Impact. He's going to be the savior of North America.
Some credit given to Impact, but SKT not necessarily pleased with their performances so far, even though they've secured first seed. It just speaks to the aspirations and the discipline of that roster and that organization as they look to defend their title. With SKT securing the first seed to fight in Group A is now all about the final spot in quarterfinals. The winner of C9 versus AHQ puts the on EDG, while the loser is out of Worlds 2017. It's time for our analysts to tell us who they think will take the win and why.
Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say AHQ. And
Lip flopper.
And the reason why, it's just
Jat would be so displeased.
Getting more information, just sussing things out. We had some questions at the top of the day. I said that Cloud9 had shored up their weaknesses from their domestic performance, Impact playing much more consistently, Contracts becoming that big superstar on a Worlds. But now, not that Impact's playing poorly, but he's starting to slide back a little bit. He looks a little bit disjointed, and I think because Westor is starting, AHQ can play that 1-3-1 side lane style, start splitting Impact up from his team, and start exposing some of those weaknesses that we saw from just the last game, where he's not quite getting there just quick enough or on the right time.
Crumbs, what are your thoughts?
Well, at the top of the day, we predicted Cloud9 for second place. However, I gotta know when to fold my cards. So I'm actually going with AHQ for this one. I think Westor on mid is more impactful than having Chowie. On top of that, if you look at the performance for both these teams today, AHQ have been massively more impressive in their game against AHQ, and they played up against EDG, who right now today is the strongest team in this group. So with that being said, I do think that AHQ will favor over Cloud9. However, if we do get a tiebreaker, I think EDG is gonna ride it home.
All right, there you go. Azale, what do you think?
I still have some confidence in Cloud9. Store is actually starting, and I think that like his laning phase has been such a big weakness. So while he has been very effective, and if he can get help, you know, around the junction, get put in an advantage, I think he's incredible. But from a disadvantage, I think he has been pretty ineffective, and I think that Jensen's lane dominant style could actually exploit that, since Cloud9 plays so heavily around mid lane.
I just want to say that Shin, I think, is going to be a massive pick here. I think it has to be denied from Cloud9, and almost even more important that Ziv gets his hands on it.
I love how our reasons for AHQ are your reasons for Cloud9.
I just think Cloud9 can play heavily around it. Draft matter a lot, though.
Hey, spotlight on the mid lane. It's do or die time for both these teams this game. Let's head over to the Cat fans.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. Welcome to what is the most important game right now of the group stage. The loser is out. The winner is in at least a tiebreaker with EDG or flat out gets second in the group if SKT helps them.
And there's so much pressure on both teams. Like AHQ saw Flash Wolves end up 1 and 5 in their group, not make it out. They now have a chance, even though a lot of people were saying HQ had absolutely no chance of getting out of their group. And then you got C9.
They beat SKT.
They beat SKT, yeah. And then C9 are looking at all the other North American teams dropping out. Now there's 0-2 as well on the day. Like the amount of pressure on these guys, it's insane.
And imagine if AHQ hadn't beaten SKT at the beginning, we could have almost had a three-way. Sadly, it means Cloud9 cannot possibly go 0-4 on the day. They will not play tiebreaker if they lose, so at least that's there. NA is at least going 1-10, better than 0-10 from a couple years ago. But we are into the game. That's the important part. Sejuani banned away by Cloud9, 8 with, I'm going to guess, Callista.
Wow! Prophet.
Yo, I'm so good.
Well done, Freak. Honestly, though, the question, when Westor is in the game, how much do people actually think about the champion pool? Because his is much different, right? The Twisted Fate and the Fizz is always brought up every single year, and some teams actually even walk down that path of spending bans on that rather than spending bans, meta picks at the moment.
They just banned TF.
Okay.
They're actually like, they're so afraid.
One of those teams.
They're so afraid that in this crucial game, that AHQ are playing Westor so you can pick this TF.
I feel like this is one of Westor's greatest year after year. It always happens.
You ban his champions, everything else left up.
And I know it's Westor's TF, it's very special, but I still feel like you can at least save it for second ban phase, worst case, or just give it to him and camp that lane. There are so many champions in the mid lane with CC setup you can use to shut it down. Fizz is something they're going to consider now?
Yeah, maybe as well. Keep in mind, if he goes down the pool, his Malzahar 8-1 right now this year, so there's definitely some things Westor can bring out. We'll see what's in later on into this one. Lulu off the table, looks like a Janna first pick. See if that comes through, though.
Yeah, unless AHQ ban it here, you would definitely expect them to match. I do not agree with any teams leaving up one. I guess HQ are going to do it. And Cloud9, the only pause here would be, what's the bait? What is the...
Rakan is up, which is a lot of teams will actually take over Janna, and you could even go for the full Misfit style and grab like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh and go really hard, but Rakan, the most likely answer.
I think going Rakan Jarvan as your trade, so you literally leave Janna up for the only reason that you know C9 will first pick it, so you get your two preferred champions right now in your first rotation. Otherwise, you should just ban the Janna, of course.
Biggest difference here, to me, is that Rakan takes a higher level to pull off than Janna.
Sure.
I don't think many people would argue with that, right?
Yes. Everyone agrees with you in the entire community of League of Legends.
And we've seen quite a few, especially after the nerfs to Rakan, slowing him down a bit. We have seen the counterplay come through. You can have AoE silences, you can have large knockbacks. Cho'Gath, Syndra have been some of the big meta picks that have actually been able to deal with it.
So they value the Twitch here. There are still a lot of late game carries for Sneaky to play and have the Janna protecting him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Trist, the likely ones.
Definitely true. We have a Rakan not being picked this time because they didn't have to show support. And I was wondering if other teams wanted to start playing Caitlyn. It's been the LPL teams so far doing it. A lot of success, especially in the early game. It's a great pick in lane against Twitch as well.
They're going to do it. Time's ticking down, and Cloud9 going to pick up a champion that I'm pretty sure exactly 2 teams practiced heading into Worlds. Okay, 3, sorry, all the Chinese squads probably played it, but she was gone from the metagame.
Yes.
Entirely. No one's considering this champion. You heard Mithy talk about it. He's like, no, Sven never considered this thing even being viable whatsoever. And that's going to be the pickup here. So Sneaky in the do-or-die game for Cloud9 and North America as a whole, pulling out the Caitlyn.
When people have been seeing these games too, and they're like, oh my god, why doesn't everyone pick Caitlyn? Well, the reason is she does, drop off more later than she used to. And yes, she has been bullying these lanes. You need to be able to bully these lanes. You need to be able to wear down this turret and start to get gold for your team and use this swing of momentum early on, switching from turret to turret and kind of sieging as the way to win the game. Now they have actually locked in another form of disengage for themselves. So C9 looks like they're fully committing to this strategy.
I was just about to mention the Fizz. He'd be like, if he wants to play it after that TF ban, he needs to pick it now. It does mean Rakan is not going to get locked in by AHQ. And instead, what they got from there, Janna bait was a Javan and a Twitch. I don't feel like they won out on that trade.
What's interesting as well is it doesn't play against Cloud9 style just yet. If it's an early game snowball comp, you go wave clear in your mid lane, which is often one of the roles that actually exists.
That's a very big point. There are two things that you usually look for when you're talking about siege comps and things like this in the early game. One is the wave clear. The other one is hard engage to try and crack it later. You look for this decisive moment in the game where you force a team fight with some hard engage, some guarantees that have been banned out here. I would expect Cloud9 to ban more of them. Rakan, one of those big, tools that you can use to get those engagements.
So I need to see some kill pressure here from AHQ in this draft. In the bottom lane, if you're gonna play this Twitch here against the Caitlyn and the Janna, I'm always looking towards like a support who can actually engage on the Caitlyn, and then you can camp the lane with Java and double TP and use that to try and shut down Sneaky.
I see two styles. You go full Karma and you wave through and keep the turret alive to stall to the one item point where Twitch starts outscale, or you go for the hardcore, the Thresh,
opting for one of those pull supports. Because even with the Karma, I feel like the Caitlyn Janna begins to wear down turret anyway.
They're doing it.
It could be a drop in the bucket. Maybe they'll be able to pull it off though, buy enough time for themselves and delay, the turret gold going down.
It's such a risky draft. I think Azael in his prediction touched on the fact that Westall against Cloud9 is really risky from HQ side because C9 is the team who loves to play around mid. Westall is a weak laner. He falls behind in the early game. Cloud9, last time these guys played each other last week, destroyed that mid lane.
Weak laner, but strong roamer. So maybe it's just HQ deciding to go more into the bucket of, we are going to crack this game open with a play and have Westor, crack on the bottom side and break one of those big things open.
But then you're going to go down to this lane here where your playmaking potential is a snare after a few seconds from a Karma. I hope the bot lane can survive for long enough so that Freak, you're 100% correct with the Hurricane coming in from Twitch, and then they try and find
options to try and stop that big play.
And they've picked strong laning everywhere. Gnar coming in as the quasi-blind pick for the top lane. Certainly one of the better laners in top lane. No stranger to the champion. Of course, Jensen's LeBlanc a big deal as well.
Do we get the Jace again for Ziv against this Gnar up in the top lane? Or will they just play a simple tank?
Yeah, the problem with that is, and I really want this big moment where you have the hard engage. And Jarvan is one form, but that's not enough. Janna completely stuffs him, right?
Yep.
So now with the Maokai, they're trying that extra layer, it looks like.
But you got 3 losing lanes now. Like, you're going to get shoved in 3 lanes. Contract should have freedom to roam wherever he wants in this game.
Gotta believe in that big one play.
Yeah, you've got to believe in the big one play, the big roam. AHQ, I think, if they survive, their team fight, to me, looks a lot stronger. I think the scaling is really good in a lot of plays. But Cloud9, as you mentioned, in 3 winning lanes, it's around a lot of this, the Caitlyn Janna chip, the repeat, and it's the sustained chipping versus the big play out of HQ.
And the team that opts into the sustained chipping and this early advantage are the ones that have to watch their mistakes. You can't afford to have unforced errors with these types of compositions. As both of you guys highlighted, you give some gold over to this HQ comp,
of course,
and they can start to prey on you.
I think also though one needs to defend all 3 lanes. It's kind of the same thing. If you do mess up in the early game and give a big advantage over to Cloud9, that's an early tower dropping. And then this Caitlyn is going top lane and mid lane, and suddenly you find yourself without outer turrets, and you're pushed really far back on the map. So it definitely goes both ways. It's on HQ to be proactive once they get that first item. Before that, defend, stall, hope maybe Mountain can pull this gank in the early game.
Honestly, every single minion wave is a big objective for AHQ.
Yeah, a minion wave is required to knock down turrets. You kill those turrets off, get the minions off, no push. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The most important game of the group stage. Lose and you are out of the tournament. 3rd or 4th place is a guarantee. Win and you are in at least a tiebreaker with EDG, or with SKT's help, you are in as the 2nd seed out of Group A. It's all on how this team plays. Cloud9 swag coming out from Sneaky's helmet. See what happens.
I think Cloud9 will be happy with their draft here. It really fits their play style. Try and get early advantages, especially around mid, but then also bot lane now with Sneaky on this Caitlyn. Impact is fine if he's isolated in a 1v1, as long as you're winning on the bottom side of the map.
See what comes through right now. Pretty standard battle lines for both these squads. No crazy deep wards coming in just yet, but we'll wait for some penetration to come in. Looks like Smoothie's Janna looking in for a couple of wards alongside the Gragas, as Zib is just chilling in the tri-brush. And yeah, looks like Cloud9 got a deep ward onto the red buff of Mountain, so that is some deep vision put in by Cloud9.
the wild card here is the Jarvan jungle, right? You know, Maokai can set up ganks well. Jarvans can go for level 2 ganks very early on. So that's what Cloud9 are trying to figure out right now. They want to remove some of these surprise early tactics.
Ahn is also sacrificing a bit of his early laning by going for Fervor here on the Twitch, trying to maximize his damage in the late game. Wall odds on Sneaky is definitely a sustained advantage that matters in the laning phase.
Yeah, it's going to be on Albus to shield the headshots from Sneaky, make sure that On can dodge well. The Piltover Peacemakers can really punish here. But again, the scaling obviously much, much better with a Fervor. Twitch. Mid lane here, we're looking at it. Jensen's going to try to push back West Door and keep the farm up.
As much as the legend around West Door's Fizz has been built up, I feel like LeBlanc has become the signature champ for Jensen as well. A lot of the big, crushing victories for C9 have been around that.
I mean, he's a champion that C9 play really well with and respect so much they even ban it themselves sometimes against other mid laners because they're afraid they're going to pick it early on in the draft. It's such a power pick, and it's been such a power pick in North America. It was one of the big deals coming into Rift Rivals. European teams didn't really utilize the LeBlanc, but North American teams did, and then camped the mid lane and got the LeBlanc rolling, and it just took over games. It can be the same in this one here. Contracts and Jensen together, it's been a good 2v2 combo, and it needs to work in this game.
You're seeing it right now. Jensen's only missed 1 CS across the first 2 waves. Right now, Wester only has 2 of about an available 8, so he's getting the early deny going. Expected for the matchup. We'll see if Cloud9 can keep that one going. Of course, we just saw SKT use a advantage top lane matchup to help win a game as well.
And this Karma in the bottom lane is a strong laner, which obviously, again, fits in with this whole try and protect the Twitch in the early game, try not to lose the lane too hard. Scaling is not the same as a Janna, so that's definitely a disadvantage, but you got the rest of your team scaling for you.
Exactly, and that's why eyes in the early game on the junglers. Contracts, this is one of the first times we've seen him on a tank jungler rather than the super offensive, warriors.
Also his first non-warrior jungler.
He does have vision on Mountain at the moment, but bottom side they're trading.
Yeah, pretty solid trade out of HQ as well. Good damage on a Sneaky right now. Actually a farm lead in as well. A nice spike, gets 10 gold in for Mountain, but the health bar is pretty low on this Jarvan. Trug's hurting him as well, but triggers Thunderlords and looks like he'll get this camp.
So much about jungle skirmishes are about watching your lanes. You know, who is collapsing first? Contracts goes back in once he sees the Maokai back in lane to finish off the last of those Krugs.
Nice little distortion right there, gets some damage to Wester, but takes a turret shot for his trouble. Jensen still healing back up, and again, 22-9 is a great farm lead. We're seeing Impact win his early lane as well, but that bot lane is not winning yet for Cloud9.
So see already every single potion stack used by Westdog, taking a lot of damage in the lane. 2 still left on Jensen, so he should be able to force an early TP from the Fizz. A lot of damage in the bottom lane once again.
Yeah, Cloud9 not winning this duo at all.
And definitely chunked down here, a little bit scary, and they do have to worry about a Jarvan, very flexible ganker. Mountain is level 3, even though he was chased out of the top side. That was a good 40 seconds ago. C9 should be accounting for the possibility. Mountain actually already heading down there, and he wants to get behind the Cloud9 duo. He's done it.
This could be the first big play. Ziv has teleport if he wants it. Doesn't need to, though. Westdoor has actually started his own teleport. That was to the mid lane, so he's not joining this fight. Here comes Mountain. Slow's going to be dodged away by Sneaky, getting the flash off, gets jumped on, and he does have the mana for 90 caliber net. The chase continues with the barrier. Going to block a lot of damage this time around. The Janna shield there as well. 3 summoners down versus 2 burned.
This is why we mentioned Mountain early on in the game, because when you play Jarvan, you have gank pressure, and yes, your lanes are getting pushed, but if you can find that little path to behind the enemy team, you can try and get an advantage for your laners. Right here, to get more summoners blown on C9 side, it's a small win in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely a small win. If we remember back to even the play-in stage here for Cloud9, who have been playing at Worlds for a long time now, more than most of these other teams, one of the big losses was from Cloud9 having a pushing lane on the bottom side, not putting the 3-minute ward behind their tri-bush, and getting ganked and snowballed in on the bottom side. This time around they did get out of it, but as you mentioned, most of the summoners have been blown.
I'm just not a fan of the Twitch flashing forward aggressively this early on in the game, because he's going to be under pressure. There is soon a level 6 LeBlanc, who's still sitting in the lane, not gone back to base just yet, can save the TP, and then use that to push mid, move bot lane, potentially even TP bot lane if needed, and then you can kill this no-flash Twitch very easily. Right now we're top lane.
Gank the top side, round number 2 for Mountain. Impact flashing away, almost Mega if he wants that one for the transform and the health bar, and he's going to get a kite away pretty easily. Afraid of flashes for top laners.
Yeah, Impact turns around to fight that because of the rage bar built up. Let's see if that is actually punished for either top laner, though. Currently, Contracts on the bottom side. They saw Westor come over.
Westor puts the ward down, similar for Contracts. He knows the control ward is here, and he's going to clear away part of this camp without knowing that he's spotted.
Right now, we have 22 CS on Westor. There's a wave at his tower he's trying to kill. Genshin goes back here now with 50 CS. Contract will find help us.
Gonna find some damage here. Smite for some HP, and he's got the rest of the team coming around as well as Smoothie joins the fray. Level 4 on all these sides. This could be the first route coming across for this one.
Is that TP?
Impact teleports in, but
Jensen.
HQ see it.
Impact gonna start his as well. He's going to the top lane, but yeah, Jensen here had been able to hold on to his teleport until this time, and closer to the lane, it's not actually greedy, and they keep Contracts safe.
Yeah, he's fine. He can just walk straight back into this lane here. Again, the goal for Jensen now is if you can't kill the Fizz yourself, push him on the tower, deny him CS, and then roam to this bottom lane so that Sneaky and Smoothie can keep getting damage on the tower. When you play Caitlyn, you need to kill this tower in the early game so you can rotate around the map and make up for your weak mid game.
And it becomes this big sustain war, right? You don't want to be the ones to back or else you give up huge chunks of your turret. And at this point, it's almost giving up the turret itself. Both of the AD carries, no potions left. In fact, going in on Civ for a trade.
And dodge away from the stun is still taking plenty of damage. Has to use his own ultimate to stay alive, as in fact used his to get more damage across. So a trade in blows plus 17 to be 19 CS for Impact by the end of this wave at 7 minutes here. So far, pretty solid early lane. You're seeing Cloud9 up almost 1,000 gold from the laning phase. This is one of those tenets that kind of had to happen based on their composition.
Yeah. Also now with Contracts, Tracker's Knife is there, Control Ward is there. Get that in AHQ's jungle near their AHQ's blue buff. You want to bottom side as much as possible. Isolate the Gnaw in the 1v1 and allow Sneaky with full vision to once again hit the turret.
Exactly. I mean, I know you guys use the term tempo a bunch in Europe, and you
stopped doing it.
Become tired
of it. Fun of us.
But this is where it's so apt, right? We talk about the recall timings being so important in that bottom lane because of the turret health. The Caitlyn Janna just continues to fully heal off the minion wave every time the shield goes down onto Caitlyn, moves up, tries to abuse her range. Then the AHQ duo has to choose between taking damage while CSing and trying to clear out the minions and heal up under their turret. Not gonna happen.
And you never get an easy time to recall. You kind of need the enemy dual lane to recall first, so you can try and match that at the same time, but you're always slightly delayed, and that means they return to lane faster, and they start pushing once again.
Like sharks in the water, where as that takes its toll, it draws everybody to the bottom side. There are low health members.
Jugglers spot each other. Nice flag and drag gets Mountain away, but this is a 4 versus 3 dive that can't easily be defended, and you're seeing quite a few turret shots come out from Sneaky as a result. Hasn't bought yet, so the shots don't mean a lot, but getting chipped.
This is the exact play we talk about. Jensen moving in with Contract. It's not about tower diving AHQ. It's once again allowing more damage to hit onto this turret. It's just small wins and chipping away every single time.
Exactly. Both teams know about this impending explosion here, yet AHQ have a lot fewer options to deal with it. There goes lane movement, actually, as I believe Mountain is down there as well, trying to hold on for them. But as long as Cloud9 match, AHQ just do not have the power to overthrow here.
Yeah, he's trying to give them a chance to actually push out the lane and recall so they don't lose the tower, but now Contracts is down here as well.
I think we're close to Cloud9's first recall timing. Sneaky has the money for BF Sword plus pickaxe and like a control ward. This is what we often saw Mystic do when WE was doing this a couple days ago. This might be the recall timing for Sneaky, and then they'll go for the turret kill at 10 minutes.
See, Contracts is hiding, and he's waiting for Jensen to be able to move down as well. Meanwhile, up in the top lane.
He got him in a turret range Impact. He's going to fall. First blood. Solo kill for Ziv in the top lane.
That is huge. Impact had been getting such a lead, but now mid lane.
Oh, the fight is in. He's going to find the route onto the door. He's running out of health bars. The shots coming in. Going to maybe get the dot. It's not going to be enough. Jensen stays alive. The trident over his head. 1 kill for Cloud9.
Oh, Mountain is here. Can he do anything? No, Contract will just deny him any entrance towards Jensen.
Not even close to in range the Q down as well, but he has ulti.
Because there's so much action elsewhere, the bottom lane turret is taking more damage as well. And the objective that we kept on talking about, that first turret bonus, is getting lower and lower.
Oh, Westor tried that all in. Let's see Mountain. He's sitting up here.
Westor has teleport as well. The Fizz teleport. There it goes. Oh, it's on the turret.
Just to his turret. And of course, Mountain very low in health. He's not in range of killing Contracts.
Tempo teleport.
Hoping to fight for the big raptor. Didn't get it. Contracts takes the camp away.
Teleport cooldown is one thing, but you need a place to use it. There have to be wards out there, and they haven't had the pressure.
And this turret could still fall without any recalls coming through. Cloud9 just staying in the lane. It takes them 11 minutes, but it's worth it in the end. First turret gonna come through to Cloud9 here in the bot lane. And the farm league's starting to grow as well. They're plus 11.
Exactly as we mentioned in Champ Select, like when you have this Janna Caitlyn lane, you're looking to just constantly push him get down that turret here. No real counterplay from HQ other than potentially 2 wards behind Cloud9 they could teleport onto, but they've been using the teleports back to their lane to try and stay even in CS. Top lane though, big mistake from Impact.
We talked about unforced errors. This guy definitely deserves, a shout out. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about this one in the mid lane, but Ziv on top side definitely deserving of a lot of the praise that he has gotten for his top lane play.
That was so close right there, of course, and Jensen barely survives the encounter, but it's now suddenly a 2.3 thousand gold lead for Cloud9. This comp is doing what it's designed to do. Infinity Edge in here for Sneaky. Hurricane there for On, though, is not too bad, especially with Ardent Sensor in soon.
So HQ knows, okay, Caitlyn will go top lane, start pushing another turret. They're trying to match it now with the Hurricane on, but there is no Ardent Sensor yet, and there is wide with that gold from the turret.
And that is such a huge difference. The amount of gold value of stats that you get from this completed item compared to the component is insane. They actually are trying to punish that, though, with Mountain coming up here, it looked like, but he is now backed off because Janna post level 6 can fully reset, and you can actually, because the Ardent is done.
There was also an old control ward placed that obviously HQ knew were there because he was killing one of their own wards, so Mountain didn't have an easy path into that lane. Normally when you swap like this, there's actually no wards in your lane already, and you can get surprised by an early gank.
Yeah, a full Ardent completion should mean that Cloud9 get to take down this top turret, then transition over to mid lane, and try and control the rest of the objectives. They're actually maybe going for a dive even.
No, it's not going to get found out here. Camouflage can save with the movement speed. Sneaky still getting shots off from the turret as Contracts holds the line for now, and it is one wave away from falling.
And I think AHQ did not expect Ardent Sensor to be completed just yet. Had they just gone to the bottom lane and swapped the lanes around, they could have traded turrets. Instead, they walked top lane, realized, oh, there's an Ardent Sensor. That's bad. We're now going to lose this tower for nothing. And they have not been able to do anything in return. C9 wants standard lanes. They don't want any lanes. Softly doesn't want to keep doing this. They have now 1v1 in the Maokai. They will, of course, win the 2v2 as well with the Caitlyn and the Janna. So they're very happy now.
They're very happy, yeah. Cloud9 might just be the one team to make it into the top 8 from North. Of course, AHQ could have done the same for the LMS. On looking for the flank. This will be the first big play. Shark's going to land onto the front line. Contract, though, he's the tankiest member. Mountain low on health. Couple more shots to do him. He gets a quick shield, though. Spray comes out from On. What? He's trying to make it happen. He's not going to make it go through. The shot's going. Sneaky takes him down.
Yeah, you can't. Even with the flank there with a Twitch, Janna has such a huge reset. Her ultimate's so good early on in the game. She can apply Ardent to everybody. They all heal up after this, and C9 will take the objective afterwards.
On right there, man. Just wanted that kill so badly. He knew he was going to die on the way out, but still, he's using both summoners for it.
So this flash forward on the Twitch to Fischio, even worse than the earlier one we saw bottom lane. And that's going to be all outer turrets. C9 should reset right now and then grab the dragon before HQ can actually...
But again, they're bleeding towers. They're bleeding gold. It's 5k in favor of C9. And engaging with the Hurricane, but there's no Ardent Sensor just yet. And An actually gets a lot of damage off, but this flash forward...
Doesn't make any sense. I think he wants Contracts, but it's a one-way trip for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where you do it and then you're like, ah, dang, Janna, broken champion. But you're like,
no, that's your fault.
Exactly. You should recognize her right next to him. That's what her ultimate does, and the heals come through to save the rest of C9.
Play that we call the Reckless. Oh.
Damn.
He made top 8.
Damn, boy.
He made top 8. I would take that. Either way, we aren't
even here to defend.
We'll see him in the next stage, and I'm sure he'll defend himself well there. We'll see what happens in this one as AHQ down 5,000 gold. Cloud9 went for early game pretty much everywhere, and so far is paying off. Farm leads in every single lane, even supports elite farm.
All right, so Rift Tail is the next objective here. There's no like tier 1 towers you can actually kill, but you want to use this Rift Tail to try and get down a tier 2 tower, and then you start setting up that deep vision, take away the jungle camp, and you kind of have this game where if you can't chip away in turrets, you just wait for Baron.
And once again, we have to look at it from HQ's perspective because it's so difficult, and it gets more and more difficult as you let it go on standard.
Yeah.
The Fischio mentioned this, you can't fight for objectives. The only way you could get them in this position now would be to try and trade. You know, if they commit to one side, try and sneak an objective somewhere else, but it's almost past that point now, and Cloud9, the last step for them is to move up the vision so that you see any movements that HQ try and step out of line.
Yeah.
And if they go for one of those trades, slap the hand, and you cut that off as quick as it started.
Stopping the big play out of AHQ. Well, the LMS squad needs this one to happen, otherwise they will be the third and final LMS team eliminated from Worlds. Here comes the engage. They're going to find On, knock him into the wall. Mountain's there as well. Looks for the first damage. They've got Sneaky. Finds the kill on Twitch. He's going to fall. Slaps the hand. There you go, Kobe. And again, no uprise for HQ yet in this game.
Oh, there was no flash on. He used it last team fight, and trying to even contest the jungle vision is impossible for HQ at this point. And it's their own fault when you draft the 3 losing lanes, and when also your AD carry is playing over-aggressive, trying to make something happen in the early game. You can just get punished even more. Big wave top lane, plus a Rift Hill, potentially a tower.
TSM died for this. Cloud9 using the tower pushing strategy to find advantage here on the last day. Ziv, round number 2 with Impact.
Not looking pretty. Pops the ulti for some disengage, but Impact's almost range. Hyper's going to trigger, not quite enough for the kill, but you know he was thinking about it. Meanwhile, Rift Herald helps knock down top 2. HQ still turretless. All they've grabbed has been that single solo kill from Ziv. Cloud9 leading otherwise on a perfect game.
And it's kind of the same setup with Impact as we saw with Huni last game, where he just needs to 1v1 the top laner right in front of him and not a whole lot else. Because the 4-man group of C9 with the jungler down to the support, they're just stronger than AHQ's 4-man group. And they're constantly going to apply pressure and isolate Impact to always just play 1v1. No one should ever be able to gank this Nord, because then a tower or something should fall elsewhere on the map.
Cloud9 going to hope that pressure continues here on this one. Looking to guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker with EDG for the last spot in the top 8 here at Worlds 2017. Cloud9 hoping to undo all the disappointment North America had so far this week in the Worlds group stage.
And important to note that for that tiebreaker to happen, EDG needs to beat SKT
Which is
in the next game.
Also, I don't know if you can undo it. It's already been done. We're in it. Well, we're living in this world now.
Is one top 8 a disappointment for North America is the question, because then it stops being disappointing if at least one team made it. Either way, of course, the record's not been good, but Cloud9 can at least follow through on their week 1 record of 2-1, hoping to make at least one win come through here. 3-1 so far in this game. Again, 6,000 the gold lead. We have not found the big play out of HQ yet.
This is the one moment where Impact needs to kind of respect that he's the only one pushing, because the rest of his team has gone back to base, they're returning to the map, and that's where like a Twitch can sneak down, or maybe Westall ganks him. But if he's just playing like this now, where he steps away, waits for his team to push the other lanes, well, then he's never gonna get ganked.
And it looks like we're in for the next inflection point soon. 1 minute, 18 seconds left on Baron spawning. You imagine Cloud9 might be looking to control from second 1.
Definitely true, and it becomes very important to clean as much vision as you can for Cloud9. They don't want to let one of those wards slip through for the Maokai to teleport on. Because again, as we said in Champ Select, HQ's whole decision here was to go with the one big play. We can crack this. At some point, we'll get a magnificent engage, you know, and get a whole huge amount of gold back.
Oh, the flash misses entirely. Mountain flashing first, a bit surprising. The Shark's not going to land either. 90 caliber net. Finds himself a big fish as Sneaky's fine.
Today will not be that day. Not right there, not on Sneaky's watch. Tower number 2 about to go down.
Man, AHQ are not defending well in this game here. They feel so forced in their engages, and it's allowing C9 to get even more objectives than they are supposed to get. 5 turrets down, hitting the inhib turret in the mid lane. Bot lane, Impact can start getting some damage on his tower as well. And before 20 minutes, we might have 6 towers down. Hurry up, Impact!
This is definitely one of those academic victories as Cloud9 begins to continue closing the loop. Caitlyn traps go up. Inhibitor turret health goes down. And here comes Impact.
While On just trying to get his farm, but he's not anywhere close to Infinity Edge right now. His team fight power is not yet there. Turret's gonna fall. There's 6 turrets at 20:08. Look for a bit more. As the inhibitor's gonna be falling, taking more and more shots, and there we go. 2015, the inhibitor falls. A year Cloud9 maybe hoping to forget.
Oh, Sneaky walks out. So AHQ basically decides to play this full. One of the teams actually been able to snowball.
Explosive cast maybe goes the wrong way. Almost dragged to safety. The knock up under the turret, though this could be the second kill. Contract forced to flashed away. And slight over-aggression. Here comes the re-engage. Look for the ulti across. Finds the roots on the 3. Will this be the fight for AHQ? The healing coming out from Janna. Spray and spray still coming around. Not yet the kill, but now on to Impact. He is not yet close to making our flash away. Stays alive. Into the back lane for Sneaky. Flash away himself. And Mountain cannot chase. He will lose his life. 1 now, Cloud9.
That was the attempt. That was it. HQ try and pray on C9 going too far inside the turrets, but it's too late. Sneaky arrives, they reset the fight, and Cloud9 come out ahead.
And C9 is sitting right now with a huge gold lead. They got more items than AHQ. Baron is alive. They can start playing around that one. Already picked up a Mountain Drake to make it easier. They're feeling so good, and it doesn't matter if Caitlyn's mid-game is weaker than other AD carries. If you're already an item ahead of them, you're going to be more than fine. This is the first fight where they do not get the kill on Albus, but he's forced out of the team fight for now. Rest of our AHQ trying to get something in return, but this is where you notice how far down they actually are in items.
And they notice it as well. You can feel the desperation there in the engagement. A little bit of an opportunity is all it takes for them to pull the trigger and go all in.
And just the damage not quite there. I mean, it's narrowly close. You can see a lot of low health bars there from Cloud9. You imagine a few hundred more gold in the inventory as these players, that damage comes through. Imagine that's an Infinity Edge on Twitch. That 2-5-0-2 becomes 5-5-0-2 and they're all dead. Those are the margins here that could have made AHQ win, but the gold deficit has grown so large.
Give the Twitch 4 to 5 more minutes, and then he will have that eye edge and be ready to try and fight.
Maybe round 2 looks better, but...
Maybe. It does give enough time for C9, though, to potentially get even their third item on some of their carries, and also start setting up for Baron itself. Mountain is behind the Baron, either trying to look for a pick or a potential steal, but the Baron is not started yet.
Yeah, C9 don't have to rush into anything. Again, they hold all the cards. They push up each lane, they lay down their vision. You remove one by one all of the pathways for HQ to get back into this game.
Right now, it's not going to look at the Baron, steal another knockup there. I want to see his Shark this time is going to land. There is almost no way out for him. Damage coming across, and yet they find the way. The heals come through the barrier in as well. The Janus shield regardless. And now Zeb in the front line, a little bit isolated. The Bird Cross as Impact tries to come in as well. He's looking for On, and yes, the tank is gone already. Pulls him back in with the Gnar, the Wallop there as well, and Jensen. Now on a killing spree, 6-1 Cloud, and get another 2-for-0 team fight.
Contracts chain CC'd Westall right there, so he could not get all the healing and shielding came in from Smoothie, and now Sneak is back to full HP.
Thank you, based Ardent Sensor. Sneaky back to full health there, the shields. And Smoothie being a really big deal as well. The respawn's up in about 15 seconds. Round 9 looking for the base itself. One of those next turrets down to about 1/4 HP. Top inhibitor going to fall as well. 12,000 gold separates these squads. Closed out.
Yeah, AHQ, the death numbers are so low that they could get back up and have one more attempt, but they've got no defense.
2 inhibitors already gone, 2 Nexus turrets have followed suit. This could be the last fight of Worlds 2017 for AHQ. 2 and 4 would be the exit for them as the battle rages on. Ziv in the front line, Jensen's rampage. The door cannot quite close it on a Smoothie. Stays alive, the kill comes in, a double in for Cloud9's mid laner. And now 3 versus 5, they can own these. Their exit is complete. Cloud9 improved to 3 and 3, and they are now SKT's biggest fans, hoping they can make that top 8.
Great early game from C9. They won their lanes. They pushed the advantage. But man, AHQ's decision to draft 3 losing lanes against C9 at Worlds, who have actually proven multiple times they can take an early lead and snowball it, have to question that decision. They sacrificed everything early on, thought they could maybe survive and make it out, but they made some really poor calls in the game.
When you draft into this, you put yourself into a position to have to outplay, to have to surprise.
No mistakes.
And it's really interesting because I think we've seen this interact times now, 3 different games of Caitlyn Siege versus someone else. And every time Caitlyn Siege has to know the movements around it,
right?
Who's scrimmed against it yet and understands the ways to beat it, and it seems like no one yet.
Exactly. That's for next week where teams will have to adapt to it, because you need some playmaking in the bottom lane to get onto the Caitlyn, or you need stronger laning AD carries. Twitch is not a strong laning AD carry. He wants to get to his first item, and that's the thing Caitlyn can counter, especially when there's a shielding support next to him, not posing any threat. And great adaptation from C9, picking that Caitlyn, saying, you know what, this is working for others. We should do the same.
Yeah, one of the biggest things in the past was the super hard engage and making those quick plays. Yep. But Janna right now being so powerful and her fitting in as the disengaged support also is just another layer that you have to get over when countering it.
And adding 40 raw attack damage turns out to be pretty good when the entire game is pivoted around 13 minutes into the game. That's when you max out the E, and it's like the exact Janna power spike is that level 7, 8, 9 right there. So certainly a lot's worked out. Great compositions coming. LPL here in China, but it's worked out for them. So 3 and 3 means that Cloud9 are either in if SKT beats Edward Gaming, or they battle Edward Gaming as EDG hope to make it their 3-0 run, and they would have to pull a Fnatic, making it 4 straight wins.
They would have to do that, and the fact we've already seen that once during this tournament, it's kind of crazy we might see it again if EDG can actually take down SKT. That's going to be the big one. We'll have to see what happens.
And if it does, it's all teams in the top 8. It'd be beautiful to watch either way. That's going to do it for us here. Now let's hear from Shocks and Cloud9's AD carry.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, standing by with Sneaky after a huge match and a huge performance over AHQ. Very much win lane, win game composition coming out of you guys in such an important match. Why the choice for this comp?
Well, we've been played by the Chinese teams, mainly World Elite. They played it twice, and then, you know, they just played like, wow, we can't really do anything. So we decided, you know, maybe we should take it for ourselves, because we did practice it a bit. And, you know, Caitlyn is pretty nerfed in this. It's, for some reason, still works. Like, you can still just push him in, keep him under turret, and then when you do that, like, you just have so much range that you're so safe hitting the turret, and you get the free turret. So it's a huge advantage. Yeah, it's really fun to play, too.
Yeah, I mean, you're very good at it as well, as it showed. Talking about pressure coming into this match, does it bother you, or is it hard to kind of separate the fact that the other NA teams are out, so all the pressure is on you, or how do you try and keep a level head that madness?
Normally, it's fine. Actually, last night, I couldn't get as much sleep. I don't know if it was related to that, but I think like when I was trying to sleep, I kept cycling through some like thing I was thinking about earlier with just League. So maybe the pressure got to me from NA losing it all this time. Normally it hasn't really hurt me, but yeah, I mean, it's sad to see the rest of the teams go. I thought TSM would get through. I was kind of questioning Immortals' group because GAM was such a wild card, and yeah, that ended up happening, so.
Well, just to make sure, you know, all on the shoulders of C9, but you guys had a huge victory. You guys look set to take it if ED our next match, and much like last year, you're now waiting on the result of another match, but do you feel poised and confident enough that if it comes to the tiebreaker, you'll be able to beat EDG this time around?
Yeah, I mean, either, you know, take Kate or remove Kate, and the game becomes playable. Like, I actually couldn't even do anything the last time we played. I'm just like, okay, I'm trading in my face. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty big factor in that game. So I hope we can improve our pick Ben and, like, win the game.
All right, well, we'll see. Congratulations and the best of luck. Maybe you're qualified already. We'll see after the next match. That was with Sneaky, and now back over to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. C9 have done what they needed to do to guarantee themselves breaker against EDG pending the results of the next game, and they've done it with a complete shift in draft strategy.
And that's the biggest thing, is the adaptation. We finally saw a North American team change things up. Sneaky spoke very highly of the Caitlyn, and he picked him around.
Yeah, and C9, I think, played very well, and for once, the faithful were rewarded here. The flip-floppers can hang their heads in shame. As C9, I think, did lane exceptionally well, and they drafted to the lanes. I think we all agreed once we saw the draft that this was C9's game to lose. And it felt, honestly, AHQ's draft kind of felt reminiscent of some of the stuff that TSM was doing and some of the traps that these other teams are falling into, where it's like, well, if we do get to that late game, we're going to win, but you have to be able to get there. And clearly, AHQ with 3 losing lanes was not able to do so.
And that just amps the value of the Caitlyn rather for every match that is upcoming. The entire tournament likely changed the entire meta for quite some time.
I mean, you heard it from Sneaky there. If they are going to have to play this tiebreaker against EDG, he said either get rid of it or pick it for ourselves, because they don't necessarily see a way to beat it, at least at the moment.
The thing is you can start looking back to old school Caitlyn answers, and the likes of the Ashe even has a decent matchup sometimes against Caitlyn. Team WE, Mystic said in an interview yesterday that he really likes Caitlyn right now simply because the Ardent Sensor can compensate for her lost attack speed steroids.
Now that said, for AHQ in this game, if they were going to win, it was going to be through a team fight. They made the attempt 13 minutes in the mid lane. It did not go well. C9 coming out on top on this one.
And this was AHQ's moment, but the problem is that their Double Lift, Brother West, and Brother Wild Turtle send their regards. Everyone's going to have a flash like this, and on today was your moment.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Double Lift still has his flash from yesterday, so I don't know about that one.
Oh, my God.
But the biggest
He's already
thing
dead in front of me. I had to pick it up.
But the biggest thing is when you looked at that team fight, it was very clear that AHQ needed to win right there. They needed to get the Twitch back in the game, and Maokai was like split pushing bottom. Got it, guys.
And I mean, that's something that we even called out a couple minutes before it happened. If C9 get the last outer that early in the game with already CS advantages across the board, the game is essentially over. You lose full control of the jungle. You can't really come back. You need to be able to delay. And since they have Fizz without wave clear, they needed to force a fight. So while it looks silly for On to be flashing in there, I honestly feel like the fault is more on the Maokai for not being there in the first place. And you can argue, you know, maybe don't do it if he's not there, but still.
Even with like a 6 to 7 properly and at the right time. But really what I want to do now is look at this final match, this game 6 between EDG and SKT, as it very much could determine who gets out in second here.
I'm riding the EDG train all the way here. From what I've seen from the LPL teams in the second week, from what I've seen of EDG today, this team is on. I haven't liked what SKT have done at all, so I actually favor them in this matchup, and we're going to get a tiebreaker.
But the thing that SKT have proven, because their early game is the tournament so far, is that they can still late game team fight. I'm not talking about like 55-minute late game team fight. I'm talking about like 2 items, 3 items on their ADC. They stack it up, they execute very well, and that's what EDG suffer in. Yes, they look great today because we haven't seen that team fight phase from them when it's on even footing.
I'd also say that, like, while I'm definitely in your corner as far as EDG looking amazing today, I do think that SKT looks significantly better with Blank coming in, and I do give SKT the credit that they are a team that generally can adapt, that can fix their problems on the fly, so I do have some confidence that they can actually take this game, but I think it's massively going to come down to the early game. If you said if EDG looks as dominant in the early stages, SKT won't get a chance to come back.
Will the substitution be enough? The pressure is on EDG going into the next game as they have to beat the reigning champions SKT to force a tiebreaker. Meet us back, yes.
Up in the Battle range impact, he's gonna fall! First blood! Solo kill for Ziv in the top lane!
Quit is open. I'm ulting one. I'm ulting. I'm looking. Nice.
Gets Big Art, flashed away, stays alive. Into the back lane for Sneaky, flashed away himself, and Mountain cannot chase. He will lose his life as Jarvan is dead.
He's ulting now. I'm looking. Okay. Nice, son. Good touch. Getting flashed. Nice.
And now 3 versus 5. They can only sit back and watch as their exit is complete. Cloud9 improved to 3-3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Wuhan, China for this epic clash between South Korea's SK Telecom T1 and China's Edward Gaming. SKT have already secured #1 in the group. They already know their fates. However, if they lose, they are out. Their road is done. If they win, though, they are 3-0 on the day, and they will tie-break Cloud9 for the last spot out of the group, pull a Fnatic, win 4 straight, make the top 8.
And knock out NA again.
Of course, much like Fnatic.
And Misfits.
In order to go into this game, though, we have to remember what happened last time in the matchup. Yes, things have changed, but it's still relevant, right? EDG came out of the gates firing on all cylinders. Huge lead. They had all 3 dragons. They had this giant gold lead, and yet Scout later in the game, made some mistakes, but also SKT.
Yeah.
Really good engagements. Wolf was on the center stage, as was Huni, and they absolutely made a huge comeback.
We had like the best engage in the mid lane we have seen in a long time, where it was of course Wolf engaging, then Shockwaves and a Twitch opening up, and everyone died from EDG's side. Now today, I really like the changes EDG have made in how they're trying to play the early game. It's no longer just camp for Scout 27. They're actually trying to set iBoy up for success down in that bot lane.
iBoy has been absolutely massive so far today. You get that damage share about 46%. Also, in their win over AHQ, he was the first bot laner to have over in a game. This guy has been absolutely massive. Even in the 0-3 week in week 1, he was still very good there, but now he's truly carrying.
We need him in the late game team fights to be fed and strong, because as you highlighted, Scout is inconsistent, and especially in the late game, he's been an issue. So clearly you can't rely purely on him to beat a team like SKT. You need iBoy to play well.
And as big as the changes that EDG has made from week 1 to week 2, good as they are, SKT have also made changes here. They're going to keep Blank in today. As much as I love Peanut, and I adore Peanut, Blank honestly is the better choice for this matchup.
Yes.
I think this is going to be a huge boon for SKT as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is. He's, again, a player who's known to do his research right there, just now getting back into his seat, and they're going to be ready to go in Champ Select in just a moment. Now, we've seen that because I think it's very interesting. When a team has already decided their fate, how hard do they play? And so far at World is such that they understand how important these games are. These teams still put on their very best performance. I mean, Flash Wolves were guaranteed 4th place yesterday, and they still put on a hell of a fight, and they got their only win, which of course did succumb TSM to having to play the tiebreak and their chances. But these teams have always put on a strong performance, even if their individual result doesn't matter to them.
And why not use this extra game on stage as more practice for SKT? Because it's not been a perfect run during this group stage. There have been ups and downs. There have been issues in the games. And this is a good chance to kind of go in and show, okay, have we maybe fixed some of these issues? We get another game going into quarterfinal. That is important for even a team like SKT.
And you know Edward Gaming are trying their hardest, and look at that. The first ban, Caitlyn, the metagame evolving here at Worlds 2017. Of course, it just means you can go back to playing your Twitch and Cogma's game. But it is, again, one of the champions that has risen to prominence from some of the innovation these teams have done. We'll see more of it throughout Worlds. I don't know if EDG has anything more up their sleeves for this. We'll see what happens.
And in the other must bans that we've seen, Galio has been very big as well. And I actually really like Scout on that champion for a lot of the reasons that were mentioned. He's one who likes to always play forward and make big plays. So good ban there from SKT.
Now we get that same situation with the Janna Lulu up, and teams got to decide, do they want to take the preferred one of the 2 supports? Do they want to have a Sejuani maybe instead and just trade anyway? Xayah coming in means the Xayah Rakan is no longer on the table.
Which I am surprised a little bit that Edward Gaming bans the Xayah, because they grab the Sedge. You get Xayah Rakan as your first round, so you'd force a pick out of them, but not the case here, obviously.
Yeah, most teams will grab Xayah themselves and then say, you get, let's say, Janna and Sejuani, we get Lulu Gragas, and then it's okay if, of course, Xayah Rakan would also be a possibility. So you force the other guys to pick the Rakan without the Xayah. So most teams don't want to take that trade, and same in this game.
Also of note, Lulu priority back over Janna here. I've seen the internet comment has been pretty high at Worlds so far. She's lost a lot more games today, actually. Tanked to win it a bit, but Lulu the priority. It means Janna goes over to SKT.
So I can get behind the Lulu pick if you're planning on playing with your AD carry forward. If your AD carry is going to be very aggressive, you're going to play around this bottom lane, try and get iBoy fed. A Lulu is one that can enable that AD carry that has a slight lead to really take over the game. It's because concentrated power on that AD carry and the speed up that you give them.
Now, while Caitlyn is banned away, I still think Varus can do a lot in the early laning phase, especially with the Lulu. And the fact that EDG picked the AD carry, but instead take the Gragas, match the junglers, and say, I want to see what you're playing first, does give a chance for the Varus. They could also just go for the more standard choices, but I still think if you want to try and dominate lane, a good choice.
We'll see what they go for. Tristana, I think, is the most likely pickup here if you're playing the metagame. Although, because of the Lulu pick, you'd expect more lane priority via an Ashe or Varus, but again, Tristana is what most of these teams are picking up right now, and that will be the lock-in. They let SKT grab Twitch themselves, so SKT got the one they preferred, it seems like. Twitch is going to be the match.
Yeah, and we have seen this quite a lot where there is the Twitch on one side with the Janna to protect him, against the Tristana actually fighting on the other side. And in late game team fights, Tristana only hitting one target. That's a big tank right in front of her, and it takes her quite some time to burn through them. The Twitch, who is basically protected by this insane disengage from his support, opens up and takes down 2 to 3 members at the same time. So already from this draft, I'm giving the lane.
And I really would like another tank from SKT. I really enjoy double melees, 2 front lines. If you do have this Sejuani who works so well with the likes of Cho'Gath, like you're talking about, who can control a large area, and you really threaten, even in the early game, the passive gives you a lot of extra power too.
I mean, the Maokai is another choice. One of them will be open. EDG did not ban away a Trundle or a Gnar, so they might not necessarily whatever counter pick is coming from the enemy team. SKT not even taking a chance, just get rid of the Cho'Gath.
Well, solo lanes left to be picked up. Edward Gaming blind picks one, counter picks the other. SKT, of course, in the same boat here. Maokai the hover. Edward Gaming give it last pick to Scout in the mid lane.
Are SKT going to give Huni an advantageous matchup again? Have him bully on the side? Is there going to be something like a Trundle coming through? Or are they going to play the double tank, you know, just frontline like there? Because Trundle, he's not just a split pusher, right? If you have a tank on the other side, he can team fight. Use the pillar to navigate those team fights and use your ultimate to shred through the Maokai. They do it. I actually really like that, especially for Huni.
So blind pick mid here for Faker, LeBlanc, Syndra are 2 fine choices from Orianna. Is an old school he always likes to go back to. I think there's enough choices. It's very rare right now, I feel in mid lane you get completely counter-picked and you just can't lane. Most of these champions will at least be 50-50.
Hover, and there's the lock-in. SKT going to bring that one in for the last game of the group stage. And it's now time for Scout to answer this one in the do or die match. Win and you tie-break Cloud9. You play another one, lose, and you are done for. Hovering right now on LeBlanc. We'll see if it comes through.
Yeah, I would like LeBlanc here. I think you can put a lot of pressure on the Orianna in the mid, and especially combine that with your jungler to try and get the advantage, and then use that then with a teleport to snowball the bot side.
Especially combine that with the fact that it's being played by Scout. This was one of his huge champions. Everyone was talking about the Lucian, but he performance to get EDG the first seed. Representing China here on LeBlanc, very big carry for him, and this is the type of player and the type of champion you want that player on.
Very few split champions have succeeded here at Worlds 17. Longzhu, the only one who's made it up so far. The rest have been exited by weak group stage performances, or even in the play-ins if you count the rest of them right here. Edward Gaming, the last one remaining to see if they can do it here. 2-3 their record. They've had a killer week, of course, a slow start in week 1, but the crowd now rallying behind them.
And I like the control they can have around the mid lane here with Gragas, with LeBlanc as well. Faker's currently sitting on Cleanse to try and defend himself, making him a little bit weaker in the pure 1v1. This should be a good game for Scout, because last time these guys played each other, EDG camped mid lane. Lucian, Rek'Sai was the combo. They destroyed Faker early on, put him really far behind. Fun in on the Orianna. Let's see if they can do it again.
It's not quite Lucian. Rek'Sai, we'll see what comes through though. The lineups on your screen. SK Telecom T1, reigning world champions. First place in the group for sure. Edward Gaming from China, their opponents. There's the lineup on your screen. They've got to win this one to stay alive. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the last regularly scheduled group stage game of Worlds 2017. Edward Gaming hoping to add bonus time by winning and heading to a tiebreaker. SK Telecom T1, not really a horse in the fight other than playing fair and making EDG earn it. SKT T4 have already secured #1 out of the group. Huni got to be spotted out by Mouse.
Oh, the bait.
It's actually Mouse doing the scouting this time around, though.
Goes for the root flash chain. Gonna be flash answered by Huni. That was a nice little cheeky attempt. Flash for flash. Could mean a lot for Trundle if the gank comes back in.
Also, we get Mouse starting W, Scout starting with the chains, and no flash in that mid lane. Obviously, no cleanse from him because he's running with the teleport.
It's an interesting trade because the two lanes that you're looking at for each team are, top lane for SKT, but also the LeBlanc lane versus Faker. You mentioned the amount of pressure. Having flash on LeBlanc really does put extra pressure on that Orianna matchup because you can threaten if your jungler is ever any near.
Flash
you
chain.
pretty much guarantee, flash chaining in a large combo. So this away a little bit of the advantage for SKT for EDG in the mid lane, but also SKT on top side.
It's also rare. It's actually worth it to invest a lot of summoners to get a first blood this early on in the game. Like Huni would be back for the minions anyway, and you get gold over on your side, but it does now affect you for the following minutes.
Ooh, I think something that we just saw on top side was Huni pulling the wave a little bit to try and focus them onto one minion, but he didn't quite get it and didn't get to deny any experience from Mouse. We'll be able to deny a little bit of the last hits there. One of them going down.
No, it's actually going to get to go. Oh, yeah, sorry, there, I missed it. Yep, one CS denied. There's the trade. Grasp the Undying. Huni winning so far in the one-on-one. And again, playing a style that suits him. He loves being the aggressor, the carry force in the team.
One thing you mentioned in the pick and ban phase, Kobe, was having a melee champion with the Sejuani. It obviously is a great combination, especially early on for ganks. So easy to go top lane and apply the stun and the extra burst damage onto this Maokai. Only really possible though early if Maokai is actually pushing the lane. Otherwise, get level 6 on Trundle, you can just tower dive him. You actually have the damage and the CC to do it with this Trundle Sejuani.
That comes through feature into this lineup. Huni halfway back on his flash cooldown. Of course, Brennan for the game, he'll have it back around 5 minutes here as he keeps trying to push Mouse around. Still on that 1 CS on Maokai. Still on 1 actually.
Oh, you missed it.
He at least was running Bandit, so he gets 1 gold per miss.
As much as we are focused on this top lane and how fun it is to watch Trundle into Maokai, I want to call attention to the fact that Blank is concentrating a lot of his vision efforts around Faker. And this is something that we often see with him. He got both Scuttle Crabs plus wards around Faker in the mid lane. That coupled with the fact that the LeBlanc blew her flash early, Faker on Orianna, he is not of the matchup right now at all. He's pushing in Scout and doing just fine.
It's just a good adaptation to happen. Last week, there was actually almost no wards around mid from SKT side, allowing Clearlove to get early ganks off. Not this time around, though. Orianna just wants to scale, just want to do anything in the early game if she can avoid it.
Waiting for the team fights. We'll see as that comes farther and farther in the future. Of course, SKT have been so good at playing a spread-out map, and again, Huni on a champion that can do that. A sneak into the brush for Clearlove. No good to be had. Bang still going to stealth in, but don't expect a crazy fight. Clearlove will eventually finish his recall. There shouldn't be much of a skirmish here.
We see why the Lulu priority came in from EDG. They could have gone to Janna. They went for the Lulu instead to try and have a stronger early laning phase. And they're using it at the moment to get a small lead over SKT in the bottom lane and get a bit of damage on tower. And that's always the key thing. It's not a Caitlyn, but it kind of serves the same purpose here with to take down this bot lane tower.
You definitely expect lane priority here. It's pushing forward so far, down to 2/3 HP. Also, I gotta say, smart itemization. Cole versus Doran's Shield is pretty much a hard win for Cole. It's what I consider a soft counter, but you're never going to lose lane, and you're going to get 450 gold richer for it, so your power spike comes in faster.
Especially if you got that Lulu on your side, helping you out. Blank goes in here for the counter jungle on Krugs, whereas Clearlove setting up yet another counter gank. He's waiting for the moment for Blank to go first. And now he's got a good position here. Actually, it's going to happen.
Big damage in from Huni. He's got no flash, though. No way out. First blood cleanly secured for Clearlove in front of his hometown.
Yeah, Huni goes in there pretty early because Blank is coming for this gank. But Clearlove, the second counter gank he sets up. First was on bottom side, in action down there. He sets it up on top side. They find the kill onto Huni.
Yeah, and even better for EDG. They know the junglers were top side, so they get free time in the bottom lane. There's so much damage on this tower in the early game with the Tristana Lulu, showing why it's so effective. Bang now taking more damage.
Down to 300 HP as well. The tornado not meaning much, but Mako has to take a couple of steps back. He's got to wait around a little bit. Easy Bang actually went for a safer keystone as well with the Warlords, but this turret still close to falling.
Another thing to note here is Mouse is walking back to lane. He's saving teleport in case something happens in the bottom lane.
Stays alive, but didn't shield the turret. He shielded himself instead. I'm pretty sure he had the option of choosing which one he wanted. Turret's dead really soon. Clearlove coming down.
He wants to secure the turret now.
The cheers here for for Clear Love in Wuhan. Big play for him to start it out. Can he finish this game? Keep EDG's hopes alive. Bottom lane is the focus now. Turret's extremely low, but both teams have this objective in their eyes.
Damage on Mako. Here comes Clear Love, though. Will they go for the body slam? Flash to kill out. Bing is going to find the body slam easily and set the flash away. Mako staying alive. The turret still goes down, though. That's enough of an objective as a 1,400 gold lead for Edward Gaming. Feels great.
It's a tower at 6 minutes. We've seen the Caitlyn lanes get around 8 to 10 minutes. This is so early on in the game. Bang and Wolf pushed under that tower 24/7. Down a lot of CS. Early gold lead for EDG.
iBoy and Mako coming up huge here for EDG in a must-win moment. Meanwhile, on the tops, even though they did get the kill onto Huni, he still has the big CS lead. Mouse trying to make up some of it here under the turret.
Huni wants to get some damage on the Maokai first if he wants to set up any sort of kill pressure with Blank. For now, Mouse is just staying safe. Early armor as well, nice frame, and as I said before, save that TP, so can either use it back to lane if needed, or go to the other side of the map.
See, that does come through. With flash up, shouldn't be too easy to gank, but iBoy and Co coming around. Of course, that ward spots him. Shouldn't be a surprise at all to SK Telecom T1. Normally great with the coordination. When you're going to have to back up, though, of course, Trundle not good wave clear. We'll have to forsake some of this. In comes Triss, good damage on a Huni. He'll stay alive through it, but half HP for him.
They're just so behind on the play. Down in the bottom lane, Bang and Wolf have just pushed towards their own river at this point. EDG already at the tower.
Exactly. There were a couple of things here. Mouse went for a trade before he left, getting Huni a little bit low. Then iBoy goes aggressive there to chunk him out. So they have full alone time here on the turret. And Huni is scared to walk up to that minion wave. They're getting a lot of damage done. They have a very big lead in the tower pushing game.
That damage is in, and of course the mid lane, we almost saw a gank come through, but nothing happened there. Turret gonna fall, looks like on this wave, so 2-0 on turrets. Edward Gaming, 2,000 gold up.
Yeah, the level 6 Maokai in the bot lane is fairly tanky, so he's gonna try and defend the tower as well. SKT, they realize they're not gonna be able to rush it down, so they try and get something. It's a Drake, but your tier 2 tower in the top lane is gonna take some damage now.
They've rotated Faker over to try and help with the wave clear here, but Huni's getting though.
Careful, Huni, 1 versus 3. Rockton's gonna land the burst damage coming across the shield from Faker's Orianna, just enough, plus the King's Tribute keep him alive. Incredible Break goes down, but this turret could be attacked soon.
We really have preferred EDG to just focus on the tower. Kills in this game here, it's about getting structures down, so there's barely any map for SKT want to go later into this mid game.
Just continuing 2,500. Faker now has given wave clear duties, the only AO champion on the squad right now. Trundle will be sent to the bot lane.
Bang without a flash, so he can't really sit 1-1 against this LeBlanc here.
Blank going for a bit of an invade here is the level 6 Sejuani. Even though Mouse is fairly deep extended here on bottom side, you mentioned how tanky he is already. And the fact that Blank was half health went into the jungle means things go down on him. He's on vision.
Oh, they're going to find him with the root. Here's the rest of the squad. Blank sure to fall, and Scout finds himself the kill.
So much for those double buffs. Now it is a LeBlanc with an early game kill, double buffs, and EDG are off to the races.
I mean, this is the perfect early game for EDG. Free bot lane tower, swap top lane, instantly get another turret. You're getting kills now even on your mid laner, who's not even part of this early game plan. They have not been playing around Scout in this game. It's been all about iBoy and Mako winning 2v2.
Right now, this is a solid game at Edward Gaming. Of course, it's looked like this before with early pressure. In the previous one, it was all about camping the mid lane, camp Faker, but this was a lane victory so far for Edward Gaming with a couple of good ganks at a Clear Love. Now mid lane, we're going to take some damage. Firefighter Tristana looking to knock down some building.
The situation is just so incredibly good for EDG. They do get the
sun. Good rock jump away. Yeah, he's safe.
Remember in Champion Select when we highlighted the differences of Lulu and Jenna, how Lulu could really AD carry that is ahead. Well, guess what? iBoy is absolutely crushing this, and his Cole has not even popped. This is a Tristana that gets to move forward to Lulu's speed. A Tristana that's about to wear down a secondary turret here, and no Sejuani ult to worry about anymore.
One of the big things we liked about the LeBlanc as well against the Orianna is you can split push with teleport. Scout has been sitting in the top lane, now he's gonna take down the turret. Gotta wait for the next minion wave, but once again, it's a lot of damage every single time.
EDG just keeps pushing over. Faker is not the wave clear, not to be had for SK Telecom T1. Wolf Pop's yielded to heal up, but this will be the 3rd straight image.
We're 11 minutes into the game, and all 3 outer turrets, They're dead.
This is an insane snowball. Plus, Righteous Glory is already done on Mouse, so the Maokai can't actually force fights. This EDG comp has a front line to run behind. Like, they have so many options right now. You thought it was bad in the last game where it looked one-sided with the early game snowball. This is even bigger.
There we go, 101 CS for Tristana. Cole popped. He's got the big chunk of money right in the lane. Good damage on the scout, half HP on the bang. They're going to continue on the flash forward. But the summoner heal the barrier, keep them alive for now. The jump in for Trist, the explosive cast, and the explosion is there. Scout finds his second kill. EDG get another.
Kill the AD carry, get more damage on the tower here. Great play from EDG. They're looking so good today, so coordinated as well in their plays.
I don't know if anyone can stop right now. Looking at 3 straight wins, and they can make it a 4th when they can tiebreak Cloud9 should they close this game out. Watch that fight again.
Here's the setup from Fog of War. Scout goes.
Yeah, there's actually flash ready on Bang, but he doesn't get to flash before the first chains pop. And that means he's stuck in place at least for a moment, allowing another chain to connect and a bit of extra damage. Just gotta flash that instantly so you actually stay alive.
Scout just keep pressure going, right? The 1-3-1, they've got the double teleports. Most of this audience might be cheering for Edward Gaming, but those boys in your bottom left corner right there, they are hoping SKT pulls the comeback. Edward Gaming look nigh unstoppable based on today's games and today's form. China may have their 3rd team in the top 8.
And we have to remember the last time EDG got this lead against SKT. There was an Erakan on the side of SKT to force the fight, to start the big engage. It's a Janet time. It's on Blank to find the engage, and then on Faker and Bang setup to actually open up in the late game. It's going to be much harder than last time.
Definitely going to be more difficult this time around, and Blank not with a very good early start to the game either. We'll see if he can pull it out, if he actually has the confidence. Again though, even Sejuani, the ultimate now, since it's a single target, is not as reliable. You have to work that through a Maokai and a Gragas front line. There are very few options, and this would be a truly incredible comeback from SKT. Even though the gold lead isn't as big yet, the champion compositions taken into account really determine the story.
It's also been much harder for Huni to actually do anything on this Trundle because the towers are just pulling around him so fast. There's no lanes he can actually push in. The last game where he played the Jace, his entire job was perma-push the side lane, get all the resources. Let's see bot lane.
Whoa, that was a big miss on a Blank right there. Try again in a few minutes, but EDG have yet to be stopped at all.
And that's literally it. Unless they walk onto Faker's ball and they all party around it and let themselves be Shockwave, it's going to have to be a very big mistake from EDG to let them back into this game.
And she's also going to get either QSS or Mikhail's coming in on the side of EDG against this single target engage from Blank.
And we'll see if they can keep this one going. Inferno Drake going to be spawning up in a few seconds. And Edward Gaming did give the first one over to SKT as they push top lane outer as a result. Maybe a worthy trade for Edward Gaming. SKT not going to probably have a chance at taking this one away, so the neutral objective will keep stacking for the Chinese split winner.
So it's a rare time where we really get to examine SKT when they don't have much hope, right? And they are under so much pressure. The defensive vision is the first step that we see common in a lot of their games. You know, they do get behind often, but again, the compositions coming into this one make it more difficult for them to pull out those plays. Still though, the resilience with the control wards within their own jungle, trying to at least give them some areas to work with.
I think now if EDG can actually push out top lane, they can secure Rift Herald. So I would like to see Mouse and Scout just swap around the map, so you have your winning split push at the LeBlanc on this lane near the Rift Herald, push out the lane, and then just start the objective. SKT should not it, and then you can use that to get another turret.
Exactly, and there's another 5 minutes until Baron. You want to use that time with the Rift Herald to take down some of these secondary turrets. If you can really open up the rest of the map there, then you just keep up this vision I talked about for SKT. If you're able to crack these secondary turrets, then EDG just get to clean that all out. And once Baron does arrive at the 20-minute mark, that's when you get to bait.
We get that swap around now. Scout going towards the top side. SKT are just investing everyone on the bottom side, knowing they can't contest very easily. And EDG, again, push the tempo, get enemy jungle camps, get the rift held, see if you can get another tower before Baron even spawns.
Well, there might be something else picked up before Baron spawns as Hooney's in a bad spot. Body slam flash gonna land, pops to the ultimate, but knocked right back in. Clear level with perfect accuracy here, and the rest of the team joining in as well. Hooney is going to drop, but he's not gonna find the trade kill. Got a bit close, but iBoy getting his first kill of the game.
Yeah, not going down easy here. Clearlove staying in melee range of the Trundle, allowing him to get a lot of health back. Let's see here, Blank.
SKT looking for the comeback fight, looking for iBoy, but he's so durable. Knocks back Bang, gets most out of range, but Faker wants in. Nice flash gets away from a potential shockwave. A couple of summoners down. That's a sign of something out of SKT, but the gold, of course, getting farther away over time.
Yeah, SKT are able to get a couple summoners, and 2 of them are critically on iBoy. Now they're actually starting up the Rift Herald, but EDG's still decently in the area.
Yeah, there's a full HP level 11 Maokai in the bottom lane that could join for a fight. He's on his way.
Only 2 ultimates available for SKT, the Shockwave and Monsoon. Don't know if they're going to be fight starters. Here comes Maokai around the backside. Mouse looks for Faker. Monsoon to buy some time. Where's the Shockwave going to be? He's waiting for it. Doesn't find the opening just yet as Rift Herald keeps hitting clear love, then resets. SKT disengage, and they pull the TP out of Mouse. But Hooney used his as well.
Even that is a pretty good escape from SKT. They're able to get out of this river where the Maokai had flanked them with the teleport, and they do live a little bit longer. The Rift Herald should eventually go over to EG after they recall and reset after all those shenanigans and be able to clean it up later, though.
But you guys talked about, like, how is SKT defending? Why are they often so good at it? Well, small calls like the one we just saw here, important ones. They start the Rift Herald, don't get it for free, just to force the TP from the Maokai and then instantly disengage. That does buy them a bit of time, but they don't have to be so afraid of Mouse. And this is the play from before. Clearlove staying in the melee range and LeBlanc waiting for all the cooldowns gives enough time for Hooney to get HP back. And while he doesn't get the kill, at least he forces the jungler very low.
I guess the Under Gaming continuing to turn the screws here. 3,500 gold up. They've tied the Infernal Drake count. And if they go in the next 2 minutes, they'll grab the Rift Herald as well, but so far not an important goal for them.
Let's see, iBoy, go mid lane, 2 items, push it out, push it all the way down to that tier 2 tower, and then walk into the top side to secure that Rift Herald. EDG should want to fight for it. They have such a strong AD carry at this point. SKT is trying to delay them for as long as possible.
Yep, I mean, as much as we set up all the things against SKT right now in this game, they have come back from some very, very daunting situations.
Scout looking for it here. They're going to find maybe Faker or maybe just Blank with a flash forward. Scout wants him and his ex-teammate is down. A spree for Scout looking for an next one to go. A flash from Blank keeps him alive, but it's still 5 straight kills for Edward Gaming. A shutout against the world champions.
After the pick here for EDG, they push up mid. Scout is going topside. His teleport is down, but trying to get the minion wave in place.
Okay, EDG not just rushing straight to the objective, now realizing, wait a minute, there's still a Rift Herald.
Well, they see Hooney on bottom side too, and Hooney's gonna start to take his toll. I don't know if he'll be able to finish the turret before Mouse arrives. Jensen's gonna do a little dance and take a break from this one. He'll come back in 15 more minutes when SKT have stalled it out, I guess.
There you go. But yeah, Rift Herald goes down. Hooney getting some alone time on bot lane, and honestly, a turret itself is a full turret kill. Rift Herald not always worth one.
Exactly. Hooney is the only winning lane for SKT at the moment. Despite being 0-2, he's going to win that lane against the Maokai. We get the play from before here. Faker staying too far forward, trying to get a ward down and suddenly realizing, okay, he's actually overextended. Good TP coming in from Scout to secure the kill and the Rift Herald right after.
Blank tries his best to land the ultimate on one of the aggressors to save Faker. Not going to happen though. There are more coming to claim.
Now I want to highlight who specifically, because we were talking to Papa Smithy backstage after the Jace game, where he was highlighting how with Ontara, SKT is all about playing as a team, not with a split pusher, because Ontara is playing much more as a team player, much more of these tanks as well. But Hooney at MSI was all about taking all the farm, getting all the farm, being a big split pushing threat. Even on things like Galio, actually, he would do that and just be like so side lane and then join his team. This game now, and the Jace one, they're going back to that style of try and give Hooney as many resources as possible and hope he can carry from the side.
They could dive this turret though. EDG are already prepped around it, and it would take a long teleport channel time for Hooney to act anyway.
Drops to it
even
down.
if he did.
That's number 4. Rift Herald, of course, still in inventory, waiting with clear love. Hooney, all he got for that was some more split push farm on the side. He went from 200 to 219 farm, but as he's taken himself into that important fight, has 0 armor items to deal with iBoy's Tristana. on 2 items already. Bang yet to get Infinity Edge. That's the power spike when maybe it starts spinning around for SKT, but until then, they've got almost nothing.
So please, EDG, keep playing fast. Keep pushing towards SKT. Set up your vision around the Baron so you can always threaten starting that big objective. Focused on the other tier 2 tower in either top or bottom T scale.
Especially with this Mountain Drake, EDG have the opportunity to jump on this control of Baron. Currently, there are a couple of wards for SKT still in this area, and they're doing a good job of keeping those afloat.
Now Baron's up, you can see. And you can see those wards that SKT have put down. Vision control, one of their absolute hallmarks. Blank even adds more to the stack. Make sure they can see what Edward Gaming is up to. 3-0 LeBlanc, of course, very scary, as it looks like EDG are ready to go for this march.
Here we had the gold graph from last week, where it was basically over. EDG sitting with a 10,000 gold lead at 30 minutes, but then that big engage happened in the mid lane. SKT.
Now everybody's going to remember SKT coming back and say, oh, SKT always comes back. But I want to start to lay out some of the plans for EDG to avoid this scenario. You know, LeBlanc, yes, she is difficult, more difficult to pull off in these late game team fights, but one of the strategies that has been very successful in this current meta is assassinating the supports, the Ardent sensor carrying champions. And that is exactly what Scout could do in these team fights. If he can get around Blank to kill off Wolf at the beginning of the team fight, or Bang, you know, Bang is the gold standard, right? But even if he can just get Wolf, that would be a huge flank, and we have seen it pulled off many times thus far. Take out the Ardent Sensor Carrier, that really reduces a lot of the threat from the AD carry.
What happens, Bang trying to wave through Ripco, could be knocked around and killed as well, but I got half the health off that turret. EDG, though, not going to stay on this. They are going to back off and let that turret stay alive. And you saw the graph from the previous win before, the SKT comp. This is not nearly the same size of gold lead, though. You talk about, well, the comp's not quite as explosive. Need is not quite as high either. And again, it's a team like SKT. You obviously cannot count them out, especially with the lead at only 3,500.
Sure, that's why EDG are looking at Baron as the next big objective after they kill this tier 2 tower that's so low. Because then if you get 5 control wards on the map, SKT should not have vision in that river, and they will be forced to come in and face check you before they're actually ready to fight. And then there's almost 3 items Tristana or Scout with 2 items on the Black should be able to carry.
Looking for the play here on No Wolf, does not land the chamber. The second one's going to go in, and that not yet the kill. Looks for a bit more explosive. Catch clears it in. Clear Love, yes, 2 and 0 and 2.
Ardent Sensor down. EG have a window to work with.
See if they can actually use it though. Right now, there's still a few walls on Baron from SKT, so they kind of know roughly what's happening here.
But it would be 4v5 with a deficit. Look for the next play. Not yet going to find Blank. He is able to jump out, but that's how much they worry about that smite.
And again, you need 5 control wards. The line is being started. Blue buff going down. Bang. And SKT moving in to stop them.
Here comes Moon around the side. Sorry, Mouse, I got the name wrong. Looking for the play. She's going to root up, walk right back out as Huni stays on the turret. He's looking for the inhibitor itself as Baron is still taking damage. That will be cleanly picked up by Edward Gaming. They're going to back out, no problem. Just getting more farm on Huni, looking for kills on turrets.
SKT going to back off because EDG were able to finish that Baron so quickly. Huni has no more time to work through the inhibitor turret, and it's barely left standing.
And is going to live, yeah. He was holding turret for part of it. You saw his health bar get very, very low. He was fighting in between waves. And again, he's got some farm, and it's SKT taking a page out of Longju's book as well, the Korean champions. They had often would sit there and bleed objective, just giving farm onto Khan, onto Longju's top laner, and SKT looking for, again, this style. It is on Huni to be that force.
Normally, if you want to play the defensive style, you want to prevent Baron from going down like 30 minutes, if you can, ideally, because the enemy team can't push into your base then. With 25 minutes in, and EDG now picks up the Baron, they should use this to get an inhib down. And then suddenly your split pushing style most likely won't work because the enemy team are literally threatening your base.
We'll see if that base gets threatened enough right here. Gold lead 4.7 thousand. Baron buff on 5. And 2 Drakes. Good for pushing.
Will SKT be able to pull it off?
It can reduce the healing, especially from Huni when he's sitting with that ulti trying to go ham in a team fight. He's actually a target you can take down now with the Executioner's falling on iBoy's side. Also with all the healing from Janna and the redemption, we will get eventually some Wolf.
Luxury of being ahead in gold. He's still got the double completed Zeal upgrades. He's ahead in items, plus has boots for a little bit of defense in case the Trundle comes after him with a Twitch. Plus, actually, calling you guys are mentioning right now, Edward Gaming looking to make the 4-0 run on the last day of groups to get into the top 8 when they are winless the first time around. Shockwave on a 3, but there's no damage to follow up. That's a summoner spell, sorry, an ultimate on cooldown, and not much to show for it.
Good defense though from Faker, getting almost the entire wave and forcing a flash from Mako. Scout getting some damage in the mid lane. It's all about applying pressure multiple lanes at the same time, but EDG are right now not getting enough with their Baron buff. They still got about a minute left.
He under-leveled to Scout despite all his split pushing. Scout's got so many resources to his name. Round 2 on the turret. This one's gonna fall. SKT giving it away yet again. Positive gold lead buff, hard to defend against.
Unless they're able to crack the, oh, good crit there. Unless they're able to crack the inhibitor turrets though. SKT, this is the line of defense that they actually have to hold. The outer turreting. iBoy trying to make work of it.
We have to see who can actually land the ulti. There is still no Mikhail or QSS.
Oh, got a little bit of damage. The pillar was there, but of course able to jump away. Every auto that Scout lands though takes several minutes to regen. Very slowly. Beginning pushing in farther. 25 seconds left on Baron, though it's timing out soon.
Yeah, get in there, iBoy, man.
Shockwave on iBoy. He's got to watch out for this one. Gets away, and barrier plus Lulu ultimate down to stay alive.
SK3, again, they chip away at your summoners, chip away at your ultimates, and iBoy more vulnerable now. They have to back off. A little bit too scared to finish off this secondary.
Two could definitely have avoided both
for
of
the
them.
play. Mouse wants to dive. This could be the winning fight then. They're going to put the team 5v5. The front lines are available. No Shockwave though means they might be all right. Huni put down to 2/3, and now some alone time with the inhibitor. Pillar comes in, but no fight yet as Huni has yet to ult his one turn on his tank stats. Inhibitor still not defended, looking to knock it down.
We have to remember it's Blank who's main engaged for SKT in this comp. He can't rely on Wolf starting a fight. The Sejuani ulti needs to fly towards EDG for anything to really happen. And this is now an inhib for Inward Gaming.
That was the big thing. That was what EDG needed to get during this Baron buff. The home crowd chanting, Jayo, refill, be ready for this one. Edward Gaming hoping to make it that 4-0 run, to make it into the top 8. They've cracked the inhibitor against SKT. This time they have to close it out.
Cloud Drake picked up, and Scout also fighting for that blue buff with Huni, it looked like. Actually, just fighting Huni. The blue buff had no part in this.
Scout gets to regen. Huni kind of the same. Pretty strong champion over there on the side. 305, 6, 8, 10. Flame Horizon coming in soon for Huni, but will it be enough? Frozen Heart is in. That's going to be a nice, pretty important power spike, and it drops some of the attack speed off of iBoy. But can Huni be invincible enough?
Oh,
is
Blank.
the engage going to be there for Blank? Maybe onto himself. He jumps in, finds a chain, stays alive.
The new setup now for EDG is around mid and top lane. They already got super minions in the bot lane. Baron is not alive for at least 2 more minutes, but they can still wait for that objective and play around it once again because they got that first Baron so early. We're not even 30 minutes in, and we're still seeing a 4-item Tristana. I love the fact that iBoy are winning his lane, and team, they trust him as well to be a carry.
iBoy definitely going to be critical for the 5 versus 5. I'm still as well looking at Scout. How effective can he be on this level 16 mid-game LeBlanc? He's 3-0 his team. He has the Fog of War to work with.
Oh. Ulti not going to land for more than a slow. Scout just barely outside the window for it. And that's the key engage ultimate down. It's now only Faker's Shockwave that SKT has as a fight starter.
So just look at the ball on the ground here. iBoy can step to the side, always get a few hits on the turret.
Big damage out of Scout, looking to knock down Wolf. Summoner heal burned to keep him alive a bit longer.
Right now, SKT have Huni pushing as many waves as he can to buy them time for him to be able to lend more. Oh, with it, Maokai ultimate, go.
To zone out the team, push them off the turret. A few auto attacks are going to be safe for this squad. A smite comes in for Blank. Turret's going to fall. The ulti on a Mouse. Will there be a fight again? The stun from Blank not going to find much useful. Moving the disengage for EDG, at least for now. Huni now on the chase. They want this one back on a Trundle. Will this be the fight? Scout into the back. Blank can't quite get the kills. The reset of the monsoon. And Azonius pops to buy some time. Look for iBoy. Tristana safe on the backside. First kill comes through for Huni's Trundle. They've got one. And Mouse is too low to get out. This should be 2. Shockwave. A good rocket to stay safe, but 2 kills for SKT. Looking for the 3rd. Clearly going down. A double kill for Bang.
SKT do it again. They foil the engage from EDG. Scout on the LeBlanc tries to go in, annihilated.
And the timing is perfect. Baron is alive now, but look at EDG.
Looking for the big play. Almost got the assassination of Faker. He wants it. He can't get him though, and he's dead for this one. There is no way out. He pops the barrier. Mako cert, the ace for SK Telecom T1.
The young rookie trying to make the big outplays against Faker, but he didn't get the kill. Huni can defend the base. Baron will go over to SKT. They're only 4K gold down.
Backs
gonna be
against
3,000.
the walls. Do never bet against SKT.
See how many autos he got off in that exchange. Huni was just tanking in the front line. So iBoy sitting up here near Mako, top of your screen, getting a few hits on the Trund back.
As we said as well before, the Trundle can teamfight. He's leeching away all these tank stats from the Maokai. That's why they're able to resist iBoy's on the late game. LeBlanc not there. He splashes in for it, but gets immediately denied.
And Huni also placed a really good pillar in the face of the Tristana. It stopped iBoy for a few seconds. He couldn't auto-tag it, jumped in at the same time, and iBoy, he came for the king.
Yeah, he wanted the reset here off of Faker's death, but he was unable to deliver.
Of course, Mako, obvious to fall afterwards, the ace, and so this is now the reset game, 2,000 apart. And despite Bang, who was down roughly 3,000 in that fight, put out just as much damage as iBoy, even a little bit more.
And the worst part for EDG is the game slows down. SKT gets more time to farm. There's no super minions with Baron buff coming into their base, and an EDG team right behind them. Enable respawn.
Trundle will be tank stats. Faker on Orianna will have a much easier time. Oh, well, we have a teleport in. Maokai's coming to play.
Tristana looking for this opening here. Huni slowed a little bit. Mouse around the side. Orianna far. Faker actually not in his to re-engage now. Damage and a clear love. Mouse kills away a ward.
And at the moment, Scout lacking kill pressure with all the shields and the healing. And of course, the barrier as well on Bang's side. Another re-engage.
The flash in for the pillar that they can catch out Mouse. The front lines have engaged in battle. Waiting for the marksman to open up for the damage up. But Explosive Cat's going to pull Huni back in, but he is practically invincible. His health bar.
With teleport, there are a lot of wards behind SKT, but it's so hard to flank as a LeBlanc in the late game.
And for now, it's a safe 5v4. SKT have knocked down mid lane outer turret. Only their third turret of the game, number 4 in their sights. As mid lane tier 2 is there. Shockwave out of the front line. Not a kill just yet. Redemption to heal him back up, but Edward Gaming's health bar is getting a bit low. Bang shut the half HP down, but the siege can continue soon when the wave comes in.
Again, bottom lane is pushing as well. Scout continually going over there to try and clear off some of the minions, but the Baron buff up the onslaught.
And there we go, Pillar just to zone them out. iBoy can't do much more. Mid lane tier 2 falls, and SKT back with the gold lead.
I can't believe this is the second time where EDG wins the early game against SKT. But then they end up falling behind due to a late game over, but it's suddenly looking much harder for them to win and try and get that tiebreaker against Cloud9. If they lose here, they're out of Worlds.
Momentum certainly SKT's favor right now. Mountain Drink to be grabbed up by SK Telecom T1, the 3-time world champions, poised to go 5-1 in the group. If they can close this one out, Elder Dragon the next to spawn, of course. Waiting for the next group. Back to the jungle for both these sides. The inhibitors alive on all edges. This next item completion coming through. The question, who can keep up?
So much of it hinged around that mid-fight at the inhibitor. So much gold given over to SKT. So much power with the Baron buff as well. And it almost took all of the win out of EDG's composition here. All the momentum. It'd be a very big play from Scout now to try and make up.
It's for Bang. Now Scout over the wall. That could have been a threat. They're going to find a chain and a blank, but he's practically invincible on the Sejuani.
Look at mid lane. EDG pushing straight for the turret. It's only Huni there, just around it for now.
Okay.
For the inhib, I mean.
The race is on. They got some shots in the inhibitor, but SKT have answered in time. Control where to go down, and no real harm to the base.
Now, if Scout can't assassinate anyone in the backline, then he needs to change the way he's team fighting. He needs to become more of a distraction. Force SKT to respect him from the flank, while iBoy have time to kill Huni or Blank. You often need to wait for the Trundle ulti to disappear and then turn back onto him and actually, quote-unquote, fairly squishy.
I like the quotes then. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit with your quotes.
I'm just saying, he's not actually squishy, but a lot squishier than with the ulti.
All right, now let's take stock of the map here. No major objectives available, so it's much harder to play aggressively. Scout right now split pushing the bot side of the map. Mouse, the waves that Huni shoves in. You see the lack of wards right now. Look at the bottom of the map right there. Not a lot of vision, so Scout can't go any farther. He gets some priority, but no one really cares about that side of the map right now.
I want to see what iBoy's doing with his life still there. It is a Blade the King coming in. Choice, I was about to say, if you're going for black or for BT or something, it would be the wrong choice. I like this more here. Blade the King trying to again kill the tank. It's going to be much longer team fight from EDG's side. Grind out the Trundle and the Sejuani. See if iBoy can take down one of them. While you got to respect the game.
This time, iBoy, but he gets away with it so far. The shields are in. Will there be a re-engage? Not quite. Bang goes out, gets ulted back. Nice shot with the back line. Will they get him? It's so close. iBoy the flash forward, and Faker gets with the auto. Doesn't even need an Ashes 2 auto attack to land so well. And Clearlove now isolated. 1 versus 4. He is going to fall as well. Bang on a rampage. 7-6 in kills. SKT look to do it again.
A Telecom taking down the inhibitor turret and taking down EDG's hopes.
The primary carry is dead. The only damage left in the comp is a LeBlanc, and Scout's going to try to catch some of the minion waves to kill as many as he can. Mouse tries a few sec gone though. The minions still a few survive. One will break the backdoor bonus. Mouse does this by the time though, because Mouse is certain to fall, and he's been trapped up. Next up it's Scout. Can he make it happen? Can he get out of the base? He's gonna try, but look at the shots out from Bang. Donius buys a couple of seconds, but there he goes. Blake gets a kill credit, and now it's Mako catching one last wave. Buying a few more seconds in 6, but it doesn't even matter. Edward Gaming came so close, and they looked so good, and they were third team in, but it is SK Telecom T1 with another comeback win, 5-1.
First seed in this group. Congratulations Cloud9 on getting second seed in this group due to EDG losing.
Due to Cloud9 beating EDG in week 1, getting that advantage in hand, heading here to week 2. But honestly, SKT, we have to revisit this story once again. So often, late game boys, the counter engage, they're completely stuffing Scout, completely annihilating EDG's hopes.
And the patience to bleed one objective at a time until they got their first power spike and their second. Infinity Edge finally came through on Bang. Frozen Heart finally they're on come invincible against the single marksman. A LeBlanc eventually falls off a cliff in late game team. Split push didn't come through for EDG. SKT got the fights they needed.
Yeah, and you get these late game fights where an Orianna and a Twitch, they can actually threaten the backline of EDG. EDG couldn't do the same. They had to just try and kill the tanks, and it was constantly trying to run away and stay alive, while also having to kill 2 mega tanks right in front of him. Almost impossible for him to carry the late game fights against Twitch and Orianna and the big tanks.
Always there. You have the advantage in the tank-to-tank fight. If your Trundle is shredding the main tank and your Twitch is shooting right through him to the back line, as you said anyway.
Fairly squishy. No, not squishy at all.
No.
Too tanky.
Difficulties certainly. Edward Gaming, it is a heartbreak, of course. They came so close. They opened the day and looked insanely good, and the hype was real. You saw Fnatic do it and pull it through in the tiebreaker. Edward Gaming knocked down 1, they knocked down 2, and they were poised to knock down 3. Closed either of these SKT games, they'd be tie-breaking in a second.
And it's another domestic champion now, dropping out of the group stages. Only Longshow able to actually advance as the LCK champion. And with EDG, like in Wuhan with Clearlove, we've all heard the story of him playing in his hometown here, almost making the comeback. I feel so bad for them because, again, they were so close to winning this tiebreaker, but it's not happening.
Not the case. Cloud9 goes automatically, having that 3-3 record. Props to them for the second spot out of the group. But now to find more about how that win, let's check in with our analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak. SKT, they do it again. They mount another massive comeback to dash the hopes of the EDG squad and the entirety of the LPL as they almost made the miracle run to get out of this group and move onwards.
So that's exactly what I said all day. I said EDG have a great early game. Their team fighting is not as strong as any of us here. If SKT can get it to a team fight phase, they're just going to roll over.
And let's take a look at that 30-minute team fight.
And the big deal with this fight is the timing. There are 30 seconds until Baron. There is no need for you to look for absolutely any the trap, and they decide, let's roll the dice against SKT late game.
And while this team fight does not look great from EDG, we have to give them so much credit for the ridiculous mints out of Mako and iBoy. I think is the best 2v2 laning we've seen in the entire tournament. no one had dominated that hard in the tournament previously. Picking the Lulu and taking, in 2 minutes after the minion, the turret, and 20 CS lead in essentially 4 minutes.
I do want to quickly point at this play. A lot of people will say, why would you flash forward there? He tried to get the reset. He tried to just get back to safety. He knew he was screwed as soon as that Trundle pillar came back out. I boy made the right call. Maybe not on the rocket chop, but definitely on the flash.
Yeah, once he's already in there, he's already a Trundle pillar, not getting out unless you get a reset. So you can criticize the initial play, but he's trying to make something happen when his team has just kind of thrown the game.
And I just cannot help but see the similarities between the first comes to the game-winning fight from SKT. It revolves around the decision of Baron. The first time around, do you do Dragon or defend the ball for it again? Here, do you push the inhibitor or do you set up the Baron? They go for the inhibitor again and they lose it 2 times. And it's just a fundamental choice that they were not able to fix from one week to another.
And the saddest part about this is, with that last team fight, this game-deciding team fight essentially, outside of SKT's base, the bottom lane inhibitor is already down.
Exactly.
Wait for the super minions to push in. You force anything. They literally just had to wait for SKT to respond. You have side lane pressure on top side with a LeBlanc. She can be up there slip pushing. You could have a 4-man squad in the mid lane. And this is an easy game that you can bleed out. And while I am happy that, Cloud9 now gets out of the group, I'm also disappointed because we've seen such incredible performances from EDG and making it into a tiebreaker and potentially getting out of this group. And you have to think that if this week 2 EDG showed up in week 1, they get first in the group probably. Like, they look so good. And this could be a team that really could have challenged some teams in the quarterfinals.
And it wasn't just the strength of EDG. It was very clear that you could see the blueprints, the fingerprints of the entire LPL on EDG. They came into Wuhan. They had a conjoint effort between WE, between RNG, between EDG. EDG didn't necessarily participate in the first half of it, but taking the Caitlyn, suddenly cleaning up their team fighting, it looked like rivals were injected into this team to make them go Super Saiyan in week 2.
I mean, but it speaks to the pressure of the moment, right? Kind of what you're talking about. When it comes that close to victory, a couple decisions made differently, and perhaps they walk away with it. But that's what it means to be competing on the world stage.
And that's also why we talk so much about shot calling. And there's these certain iconic players that within their regions, people talk a lot about them, about High and more recently Smithy, and the kind of value that some of these guys add. And it's helping with decision-making like that. Being able to stay calm, being able to stay focused, and being able to make those calls. And that's certainly known for on the team. But in this particular instance, they're not able to pull it off.
I'm so glad that you brought up High. I know that we had a bit of disagreement because High's been a bit better on an international stage than, say, someone like Clearlove. Be a ton of similarities. I call Clearlove all the time the High of the LPL because there is just that intangible X factor, something unique about him. The fact that EDG didn't make the finals, he comes back to the team, they suddenly make the finals, they reverse sweep RNG, try to mount an incredible comeback here, and it's just, he's been such a meme and such a joke on the international stage, rightly so for a lot of his international blunders and performances. But today, the international audience finally got to see what the domestic audience knows that Clearlove has been capable of.
Now, while we're talking about him, and since we are going to be saying goodbye to EDG for the tournament, I want to return to the beginning of the day, perhaps hinting at Clearlove and retirement if the day doesn't go for him as planned. But given their performance today, even in the wake of not necessarily qualifying for the quarterfinals, you starting to rethink that a little bit?
I mean, I was terrified that 2016 was going to retire Clearlove. He took a break off. He said it was to try to refocus his mentality. We saw those changes and those adjustments come through when they were able to make that surge on RNG. You can see it here today, the fact that they even fronted a comeback this time around in week number 2. But that said, I mean, Clearlove, he's been around the scene for a long time. It's always been that quarterfinal curse. And eventually the tiny little voice in the back of your head just starts telling you, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you never were. And it's just trying to overcome that every single year.
And I think it's so hard because even if you're like, okay, I know exactly what to fix, let me play again, don't get to play again right away. You have to wait an entire year. An entire year where you then need to be successful, not only in your own region. You need to be able to reach the levels where you just even need to hope probably for a good group draw. Then you need to make sure that your teammates and everything is coming together at the right time. Maybe that it's a good meta for your team. Like, there's so many pieces that have to come together, and that's why, losses on these levels is so, not only from the fans, but from the players here too, especially the players, because they pour their hearts and their souls into this game and into the practice for it, and losing that one game, that can be something that haunts you for years.
Can you imagine going in front of, again, your home crowd? He's from Wuhan. This was, MSI 2015, that was LeBlanc's, or Faker's undefeated LeBlanc. Today, it was Scout's undefeated LeBlanc. That is the first taken a loss. There is such a strong you couldn't script a better love story between SKT and EDG at this point. The amount of times that these guys keep running into each other and what it builds into.
All right, well, today's results mean that it will be SKT and C9 advancing to the quarterfinals from Group A, while EDG and AHQ are out of Worlds 2017. The LPL champions made a great run on the deciding day, but fell just short in a loss against SKT.
Well, SKT still remains that incredible late-game team, and the big part of why they are so deadly in that stage is when they draft accordingly. Bang's Twitch, even though they lost tower at 6 minutes, still to flash forward to continuously pressure the backline. One of the reasons why Twitch is such a powerful pick. Same with Faker's Orianna. They just need to draft themselves the tool to be able to execute those clutch moments, and clutch is the adjective that best describes.
Really are clutching. Clutch again for C9. This is 2 years in a row that C9 is actually depending on SKT after a 1-2 in the same group. Last year it was SKT having to beat Flash Wolves for C9 to get through. This year it's SKT having to beat EDG for C9 to get through. 2 out of 2 times they push the last remaining NA team into the quarterfinals.
All right, well, as we're minutes away from the knockout draw, and as we just took a look at the standings, the way the groups have broken down, I want to pose the question to you. Which groups, which teams look the strongest? Who do you want to avoid going into that knockout stage if you were to be able to choose?
You avoid Longzhu at all costs. Like, this team is on fire. As the Fisher was mentioning, that is the #1 seed that has been able to retain their spot, and very rightfully so, because they are redefining strangers to Caitlyn when we come through, and they are playing the top lane split pushers that SKT have been trying with Huni as well. So this team you absolutely do not want to be playing against.
I don't want to steal any of the thunder from Longzhu, because I do. They are incredibly impressive, but I also think that they might have been in the weakest group in terms of the actual performance that we saw from them. Yes, we got some crazy games from GAM, but you know, there was lack of adaptation, a couple of players and teams really choking. Would Longzhu look so impressive if they ran into that iteration of EDG in an early game? And that's really the question I have. They might have been insulated.
And that's what I think is actually super interesting about all league analysis when you're coming to this international play. Is it can be super hard to actually compare performances in different groups, right? So while Longzhu looked exceptionally dominant, is it because their group is weaker, or is it because they are that much better, right? You know, they handled SKT in the LCK finals, and SKT tops this group, and while, you know, that kind of math doesn't always play out, I'm very excited to see how they actually match up against any of the second seeds, because I tend to agree that Longzhu is a death sentence for any second seed that draws them.
I think every second seed is a death sentence. I don't think anyone actually can take down all the #1 seeds. Just look at them. You've got SKT, Longzhu, RNG, and W. Who from the second seed looks like they have a shot? I think
Samsung
only
Galaxy?
Samsung. Only Samsung. And they're not going to be able to take down one of the powerhouses of Korea. So their best bet would be against the LPL in some sort of stylistic mismatch.
If not Samsung Galaxy, I'd be looking at likely
to take a first seed down?
So it depends
I mean,
on the first seed.
if I have to choose, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's likely.
So I think that, like, while I certainly wouldn't be betting on Misfits, I think that Misfits, because of the improvement and the growth that they've shown, could be exciting. And I wouldn't necessarily take them against a team that has been as consistent as SKT or Longzhu or something. But perhaps, you know, WE has had some ups and downs. You know, they have shown some weaknesses. You know, maybe there's an opening there. RNG has looked brilliant in group stages, but we've had group stages past, you know, at MSI, thinking back, where they went 8-2 and then, you know, kind of burned out in the elimination stages. So these are teams that have not proven that they're exceptionally consistent throughout the elimination stage, and maybe you can attack them.
There's a lot of maybes. That's the point, right? It's going to be an uphill battle for a team like Misfits, but they're definitely equipped to do it if they show on the day. The other thing I want to talk about is the way the regions broke down, right? Of course, we do still have
break down.
And they made it out, baby. Yes. We do still have, of course, 3 Korean teams through, 2 LPL, 2 Europe, and 1 NA. What are our thoughts there in terms of the region's performances here at Worlds and moving on?
Do you want my harsh reality?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm going to get flamed so hard. I honestly feel like team didn't make it out of Group A today. I feel like EDG their highs were much higher than the highs that we saw from Cloud9. And while Cloud9 were more consistent from week 1 to week 2, and that's why they deserve to take the spot, if I'm talking about at both teams playing at their best, the best performance that we saw from EDG outclassed almost everyone versus the best performance that we saw from Cloud9.
I think everyone would agree with you.
You're too nice. That sounds really
I'm scared I'm going to open up social media.
Yeah, we're like, yep.
So maybe some diehard fans would disagree, but yes, Cloud9 deserves to get out because they had a better week 1 performance, right? But are they the better team overall? No, I don't think so. I think that EDG showed higher highs, but at the end of the day, you have to succeed in the format that is given, right? And so much about Worlds is consistency, and we see that time and time again from the Korean teams. We do not time and time again from the other regions, and that I think is why you see them, falter at Worlds, and why we saw so many #1 seeds, getting eliminated is because of the lack of consistency be at their best. When you look at G2, TSM, EDG, and the Flash Wolves all falling out in groups, it's not because these teams can't have great moments, it's because they didn't have great moments consistently over 2 weeks. And that is what it takes to succeed at Worlds.
And this is all before we even begin the conversation around the meta and the way it's developed here at Worlds, right? It's usually when we get to those best of 5s, when people start bringing out those pocket picks, we start seeing the MF supports of last year really throwing wrenches and stuff. Exactly. So it's going to be exciting to see which of these teams, again, in practice, we got the Caitlyn innovation here, and which ones will be quick to adapt and who will come in kind of striking the first blow in those best of 5.
It's going to be super exciting also because we know that the Korean teams are usually so confident about making it out of groups that they're willing to save strategies. They're willing to hold back things. When you think about MF in the semifinals, Rocks versus SKT, that was not shown at all. Zyra became a big pick in the quarterfinals and going forward, not in the group stages. I'm very excited to see what innovation is going to come forward and also, honestly, how the brackets shape up, because we could have one side of the group with 3 Koreans. We could have them split up across. If you get that 3 Korean side on one side, it almost has an amazing chance for the LPL.
I've got to cut you off because it is now time for us to go ahead and send it down to the LPL's Rendong for the draw of our knockout stage matchups.
淘汰赛阶段的抽签仪式现场，大家好，我是任栋。
大家好，我是余生。
是的，那么曾经怀揣着冠军梦想的24支战队，到目前为止只剩下最后的8支战队了。那么接下来让我们一起来欢迎一下他们。
What this Worlds tournament has been, where we started with 24 teams down to 8.
他们分别是 SKT、龙珠。
Running through the teams out of their group. Wolf, the representative from SKT, Gorilla of Longzhu, Ming of RNG, and Zero of WE. On the flip side, we've got the second seeds qualifying through. Jensen from C9, Caps from Fnatic, Kuve of Samsung Galaxy, and Maxlor.
He can't help himself. They made it.
I mean, they did what EDG almost did. The fact that we almost had 2 teams go through like that is phenomenal.
It's always nice, though, that we got both EU and NA out to quarterfinals.
Running through some of the rules, of course, don't worry. We've got plenty of people behind this checking every single one of the picks to make sure that the draws are validated, and we will deliver that information to you as we receive it.
我们接下来将请出今天的抽签嘉宾，让我们欢迎 OMG Icon。
有请 Icon。
So Icon,
go for it.
Yeah, Icon is the mid laner for OMG. A lot of people will recognize as Cool was the former big mid laner, but he actually transferred teams to Newbie and then to LGD.
Where do I get my hands on a suit like that?
He is very handsome.
接下来请 Icon 开始进行抽签。
Beginning the draw. Our first team draw will be Royal Never Give Up.
Of course, RNG started out very strong in the group and then continued to solidify it on the back half, really just marching through everyone with a very fast and furious style.
好的，有请 Icon 继续抽签。
Next up, the reigning champions of SK Telecom T1.
You have to feel like everyone is going to be hoping to dodge Samsung. I think that is really the #2 seed wants, because although they showed a lot of weaknesses, we know how high their highs are, talking about teams who can improve.
They did take SKT to a Game 5 in finals, which had never really been done before. So that is one of the reasons why you truly want to get
WE, the third team picked, will go to the opposite side of the bracket.
Zero can't quite figure out where to look on the screen. He's like, what, over there? No, over here? Got it.
请 Icon 继续抽签。
No surprises there. Longzhu, the last of the 1 seeds.
And this does mean this opposite side of the brackets for Longzhu and SKT looking like. So, that is potentially something that could be set up for that finals.
I mean, the 2 Chinese teams as well, right? course, as we are completed with the Pool 1 draw, we'll be moving on to Pool 2. No Pool 2 team can be on the same side of the bracket with the Pool 1 team they are grouped. That's the important thing to remember here.
So we're going to be doing a lot of shuffling, probably, until we can slot everyone correctly.
C9, they slid in here at the end as SKT helped them out. Yep. Let's see where they end up. Team WE will be their matchup.
And I actually think that's the most preferential draw possible for Cloud9. Still WE looking incredibly strong, but that is something that seems assailable. It feels like
bit of a traffic jam there.
RNG's like, we'd like to play them. There it is. I want to confirm just for the viewers that this is correct. C9 versus WE, just so there's no confusion.
I want to take.
His name is literally Icon. I don't know what you want.
Our next team to be drawn from Pool 2, who's it going to be?
Fnatic.
And it's the European LCS's Fnatic.
Yeah, speaking of just sliding in there, Fnatic made the hero run.
Like me? I'm on Fnatic. Oh, I
am. RNG Fnatic. What are our thoughts on this matchup? That's a scary LPL squad.
It is a very scary LPL squad. I think so many people are going to be hyped for Reckless versus Uzi, two of the biggest bot lane stars at the end.
Only two teams left to be drawn, Samsung Galaxy and Misfits. And it will be Samsung Galaxy of the LCK.
Gonna have to see where they go, because that all-Korean affair, that is a spicy quarterfinal for sure.
Yikes, that matchup is gonna be, because Samsung will have to really bring the heat if they want to keep up.
This means that the last matchup will be SKT Misfits. We will of course complete the draw just to confirm. But oof,
the suspense. It's Misfits.
And while it is SKT, and yes, SKT is the favorites and they're the 3-time world champions, they showed a lot of weakness in the early game where Misfits really did excel.
So more beatable out of the LCK team, Samsung or SKT?
Samsung.
Going through the matchups one more time for clarity.
I mean, Misfits, the team that says that they want... what better way to do so than the first quarterfinal match against the reigning champions?
Yeah, I mean, challenger to quarterfinals. How about challenger to semifinals, taking down the world champions?
Well, that brings a close to the knockout stage draw, which means that we get some time to talk about 4 variables. So, what's the first one you guys want to jump at?
Samsung Longzhu. That's really the one that seems like there is a smaller disparity between the two teams. So that's the one that I want to see. Even though I think you can almost always expect Longzhu to come out ahead on this one, I think that's the one where you'll have the closest game out of all of them.
There's also a huge stylistic mismatch there. You have Longzhu, who are just the sprinters coming out of the finish line. They've got the crazy, wacky picks. And then you have Samsung Galaxy, very slow, patient, methodical, as well as the cool clash between Cuvée and Khan.
And I'm really excited to see it because it has been that stylistic adaptations and the changes we've seen in the Week 2 meta. You know, the Caitlyn coming in and some of these different picks that have been coming out and really kind of shaking things up, because Longzhu, we know their style. They stayed true to that style in the LCK. They stayed true to that style in the group stage. And I think that Samsung will have to make some adaptations, but there's been kind of a sampling of choices that have been presented by some of these teams in Week 2, and they could maybe try to find out what best fits their style.
All right, well, that, of course, is only one of the 4 matchups. We have, of course, C9 drawn against WE. At first glance, your gut check was perhaps the most preferable.
I actually kind of think that this is almost like mini Longzhu versus mini Samsung in a sense. We talked about Contracts is hitting hard, he's hitting fast, he's hitting early, and Team WE, while they showed a little bit of diversity, you know, starting their games a bit earlier using that Caitlyn pick, they have been a very slow and steady, the Elder Dragon team.
I do agree with Azael's sentiment completely. If you're Cloud9, this is probably the best team out of the 4 could have gotten out of the ones that all look the strongest. So if you're an NA, this is that you can actually look forward to potentially having a shot, although I wouldn't be too excited about it. You do have some similarities in the champion, or rather the players that have been stepping up to the plate in order to put up a fight.
It's also our 2 play-in representatives, making it all the way through to clash in quarterfinals.
Oh yeah, the 3rd seeds from both of their regions, Fnatic up against Royal Never Give Up. I also want to talk about the Misfits SK Telecom matchup because, again, we talk about the weaknesses exposed for SKT being the early game. What were the things that Misfits like to attack and showed us in week 2 with some definite early game focus?
Their coaching, I think, is really intelligent as well, and all the risks that they're willing to take. Like, this is not a team to shy away. Let's see kind of like a more refined Gigabyte Marine style play coming out. You know, we had the Yasuo counter back top, we had the Blitzcrank, we've had some of these different styles, and I think that they're not afraid to go right at a team and try something.
Well, it's not just the early game, though. The preparation here, you look at SKT, they have been quite predictable with what they're doing with this roster. You have Huni, you know what he's going to bring to the table, and clearly SKT has been favoring a certain style. I don't think that you can expect the whole Fizz Jace composition once again, and so if they stick back to a safety net of the late game and you go with a split, putting up the Misfits preparation and the coaching team to cook up something that could potentially give SKT a run for their money.
I think the alternating junglers could be very interesting in that matchup as well, just because we look at Maxlore as one of the linchpins to Misfits' success, right? If he's firing on all cylinders, he's definitely one of the big leaders for the team. But will Blank or Peanut be able to download him and figure him out?
And I think that's really hard to do because Maxlore has been a